Chat group, I obtained the Saiyan Bloodline from the start. Hello again, dear adventurers of the multiverse. Thanks for joining us once more on this epic journey. Remember, this story is pure science fiction from our wild imagination, so don't go trying to summon dragons in your backyard. The rights of this amazing novel belong entirely to its original author. We are only the narrators. Do you want more adventures? Show some love to our YouTube channel with a subscription and a like, and if you want exclusive content, our Patreon is waiting for you with open arms. Chapter 51 The Tiger Hunt begins. The snake woman across from him changed expression when she heard Zhao Wuji's name. She had heard some of the deeds of Akela, but she hadn't expected to encounter him here. No wonder the boy was so arrogant. Xiaoqi, I didn't expect you to be so loyal. I'll remember this favor today. Oscar was deeply moved. He and Xiaoqi had a relationship that wasn't bad, but it wasn't particularly good either. And now she was standing up for her spirit ring. Hey, that's nothing. Xiaoqi waved her hand casually, then looked at Zhao Wuji and said, Teacher Zhao, I've already made my threats. Whether Oscar can obtain this spirit ring depends on you. Zhao Wuji nodded, 7 spirit rings rising from his feet. He took 2 steps forward and said, I am Zhao Wuji. I wonder what you two mean by this, Soul Saint. The snake woman and Meng Yiren were both startled. Sensing that the situation was becoming increasingly difficult, the snake woman's tone softened. What a wimp. Xiaoqi watched Zhao Wuji shrink back at the mention of his name, her contempt overflowing. She couldn't help but exclaim, what's with a dragon man and snake woman? I've never heard of them. Teacher Zhao, I remember we have a saying at Shrek Academy, those who don't dare to stir up trouble are mediocre. If she refuses to obey, just beat her until she does. Zhao Wuji was about to open his mouth to explain when he heard the snake woman sneer, Shrek Academy, what a mediocre person. Those who don't dare to stir up trouble are mediocre. I'll remember this today. Zhao Xiangxiang, the snake woman gave Xiaoqi a deep look and said, boy, I'll remember you too. She only wished her husband wasn't around, otherwise she would have taught these people a lesson, especially Xiaoqi, who is the most arrogant. Xiaoqi took a step back, frightened, and said, no, if you remember me, I'm afraid I'll have nightmares tonight. Meng Yiren then said, brat, don't you dare tell me your name. Xiaoqi smiled and said, what? You want to remember me too? Forget it, I'm not interested in a middle school girl like you. You? Meng Yiren's chest heaved with anger. Although she didn't understand what a middle school girl was, the words coming out of this man's mouth were definitely not good words. Yiren, let's go and find your grandfather first, the snake woman said soothingly, and turned her eyes to Xiaoqi. Boy, we'll meet later. After saying this, the snake woman took her granddaughter up without any hesitation, and disappeared into the forest. Xiaoqi looked at Oscar and smiled. Why are you still standing there like an idiot? Hurry up and absorb the spirit ring. In order to minimize the occurrence of accidents, Oscar's spirit ring is necessary. Without his mushroom sausage, it is hard to say whether Tang-san will encounter the human-faced demon spider with the external spirit bone after the Titan giant ape appears. Oh, okay. Oscar was overjoyed when he came back to his senses. After thanking Xiaoqi again, he picked up the dagger in his hand, ended the life of the phoenix-tailed cockapoo, and began to absorb the other spirit ring. Boy, you, Zhao Wuji came to Xiaoqi and looked at him with a complicated expression. Although the other party was after Oscar's spirit ring this time, he brought a big trouble to their Shrek Academy. Xiaoqi smiled and said, Teacher Zhao, why are you looking so bitter? Aren't you happy that Oscar got the spirit ring? Zhao Wuji was silent for a moment, and finally sighed heavily, forget it, we will leave here as soon as Oscar absorbs the spirit ring. Zhu Zhuqing, now is the time to think about what kind of spirit beast you need to become your 3rd spirit ring. We have to speed up next. He must go back and tell Flender as soon as possible about what happened today. As for what decision the other party will make, it is not something he, the vice president, can control. Zhu Zhuqing nodded hypocritically. In order not to reveal the fact that she has absorbed the 3rd soul ring, she has not used any soul power until now. Half an hour later, Oscar, who successfully absorbed the 3rd soul ring, slowly opened his eyes, with a hint of excitement in his eyes. In order to thank Xiaoqi for her help this time, Oscar made a mushroom sausage after introducing the function of his 3rd soul skill, and came to Xiaoqi, smiling, could you demonstrate it to others? Okay, Xiaoqi nodded. He also wanted to try the effect of this soul skill. After flying for a minute, Zhu Zhuqing felt that this soul skill was indeed okay for those soul masters who could not fly, but in his eyes it was useless. After Zhao Wuji praised the effect of Oscar's soul skill, he looked at everyone and said, "Okay, let's leave here first, and then find the soul beast that Zhu Zhuqing needs." Due to Zhu Zhuqing's previous disruption, Tang San, who had not been able to fight Meng Yiren, has not yet broken through to the 30th level as in the original novel. In the next 2 days, everyone has been looking for the soul beasts that Zhu Zhuqing needs according to her requirements. However, because the age limit of the soul beasts proposed by Zhu Zhuqing is too harsh, they have never found a suitable soul beast. If nothing unexpected happens, it should be tonight. As night fell again, Zhu Zhuqing, who was in a tent with Zhu Zhuqing and Linglong, began to tense up. She had secretly found an opportunity to take off the weight on her body and gave it to Zhu Zhuqing by sending a red envelope. "Everyone leave the tent, quickly." At this moment, Zhao Wuji's deep voice came into the tent. Coming, Zhu Zhuqing's eyes lit up, and she said to Zhu Zhuqing and Linglong, "Zhuqing, you will act according to the situation later. Wrong, you stay with Zhuqing and do whatever she asks you to do." Zhu Zhuqing had prepared several plans for this moment, taking into account every possible scenario. Zhu Zhuqing only needed to cooperate. Furthermore, if unexpected circumstances arose, he could make temporary adjustments based on the specific circumstances and inform Zhu Zhuqing via the group chat. When Zhu Zhuqing and the other two finally emerged from the tent, the Titan ape appeared before their eyes. Zhu Zhuqing's body trembled slightly with excitement as he gazed upon the massive form before him. The Saiyan's bellicose nature made him eager to engage in combat. However, to ensure the successful demise of Daimyo Bei, Zhu Zhuqing struggled to contain his excitement. Everything had been going smoothly. Zhao Wuji's selflessness, and the unwavering loyalty of Daimyo Bei and Tang San, had nearly moved Zhu Zhuqing, who was watching from the sidelines, so much so that he revealed Zhao Wu's true identity on the spot. He was curious about the expressions of the Shrek Academy members upon learning Zhao Wu's true identity and the fact that their encounter with the Titan ape on this trip to the starred-out Great Forest was not meant to be. However, the unexpected finally happened. Not long after the Titan ape caught Zhao Wu and left, its figure returned and appeared before everyone's eyes. Thanks to book friend 20240204162008920 for the monthly ticket. Thanks to book friend Xiao Lixu for the monthly ticket. Thanks to book friend 20230227151830602 for the monthly ticket. Chapter 52, Titan Giant Ape likes Xiao Wu, Tang San is anxious. The Titan ape's return caught everyone off guard. Zhao Wuji and his companions, who had just escaped death, barely had time to breathe a sigh of relief before their nerves returned. But Tang San's expression was completely different. He had just been chagrined at his inability to protect Xiao Wu and was about to chase after him alone, when the Titan ape unexpectedly turned back. Without hesitation, Tang San rushed towards Xiao Wu. "Xiao Wu, I'm coming to save you now." Xiao Wu, held in the Titan ape's grasp, anxiously called out, "Brother, go back quickly." Xiao Wu wanted to tell Tang San she was fine, but couldn't say it out loud in front of everyone. She had asked the Titan ape to return simply to teach Zhu Zhuqing a lesson. Both the name he had given Zhu Zhuqing in the Great Soul Arena and his recent comments about spirit beasts had infuriated Xiao Wu. Zhu Zhuqing watched the Titan ape, ignoring Tang San and charging straight towards her, suddenly understanding, Xiao Wu was using the Titan ape to deal with her. "Teacher Zhao, I didn't do much just now. Now I'll distract this giant. I'll leave this place to you." Zhu Zhuqing, leaving these words, ran off into the forest. Since they were looking for trouble, he'd take advantage of this opportunity to continue his plan. With the exception of Zhu Zhuqing and Linglong, the other Shrek students were bewildered by Zhu Zhuqing's selfless act. Even more bewildered, the Titan ape seemed to ignore them and pursued Zhu Zhuqing directly. Ma Hongjin sighed, "Zhu Zhuqing is such a good person. I misunderstood him before." "Fatty, shut up," Daimyo Bei shouted, then looked at Zhao Wuji and said, "Teacher Zhao, what should we do?" The situation was now completely chaotic. The Titan ape, which had captured Xiao Wu, was chasing Zhu Zhuqing, and Tang San was chasing after it. Zhao Wuji's face turned ashen, and he roared, "What else can we do? Recover quickly and then give chase." Zhu Zhuqing's death was fine, and Xiao Wu's death would make him feel guilty. But Tang San absolutely couldn't be in danger. If anything happened to Tang San, not only him but every teacher at Shrek Academy would be doomed. Ningrongrong then whispered, Zhuqing, what should we do? Wait, Zhu Zhuqing replied flatly. This was the message Xiaoqi had sent her before she left, telling her to wait for word on when to act. Elsewhere, Xiaoqi, sprinting through the forest, had been overtaken by the Titan ape. Despite running at full speed, each leap carried the ape 100 meters. We're already far enough away. Tang San will likely need some time to catch up. Let's try our best now. Xiaoqi clenched her fists, stretched her arms out in a stance, and shouted. Ha! Instantly, a white aura erupted from Xiaoqi's body, spreading outward from his body. That day, while training in his own world, Xiaoqi had already experimented with ki explosion, even though his current combat power wasn't very high. As long as he could freely control his ki, he could still explode. Simply put, as his combat power increased, the amount of ki released would increase accordingly. What is this? Before Xiao Wu could comprehend the situation, she saw Xiaoqi, who should have been standing there, suddenly vanish from sight. With a loud bang, Xiaoqi appeared before the Titan ape and punched him hard in the face. Xiao Wu instinctively called out the Titan ape's nickname. The Titan ape roared in pain and raised its massive right palm to strike Xiaoqi. Xiaoqi's speed and reflexes in his ki explosion state were far superior to those in his normal state. He dodged the attack with a sudden, fierce move and launched another fierce attack at the Titan ape. Bang, 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 a barrage of fists rained down on the Titan ape, forcing it back step by step. Xiao Wu, at that moment, a shout from behind caused Xiaoqi to halt her attack. She dodged, creating distance between herself and the Titan ape. After studying her breath, she gathered her energy. From the previous series of attacks, Xiaoqi came to a conclusion. While his attack had seemed fierce, with his current strength, he couldn't kill the Titan ape under normal circumstances. Unless he could unleash even greater power out of anger like he had last time, then perhaps it would be possible. Third brother, Xiao Wu looked at Tang San, whose eyes were now bloodshot, her face filled with worry. Tang San heaved a sigh of relief when he saw that Xiao Wu was fine in the Titan ape's arms, and he said comfortingly, Don't be afraid, Xiao Wu, I'm here to save you now. Xiaoqi took advantage of the gap between their conversation to send a message to Zhu Zhuqing, then looked at Tang San and said, Classmate Tang San, from what I just observed, this Titan ape is a male, and your Xiao Wu's martial spirit is a rabbit. According to the mating rules between animals, it may have taken a fancy to classmate Xiao Wu, so it deliberately chose to capture her. And you see, this big guy hasn't hurt classmate Xiao Wu until now. It probably wants to capture her back to his nest and raise her in captivity. What? Hearing this, Tang San's eyes became even redder. If it were usual, he might have doubted Xiaoqi's words, but now his mind was full of Xiao Wu who wanted to save him, and he would not think so much. Xiao Wu on the other side widened her eyes after hearing these words. She wanted to explain to Tang San, but she didn't know how to explain. She didn't dare to tell her good third brother the truth now, not to mention that there was an outsider like Xiaoqi at the scene. As for the Titan giant ape, it let out a strange cry, thinking that although this human had just beaten it so painfully, it didn't expect that the human was so kind and directly said what was in its heart. Xiaoqi pointed at the Titan giant ape and said, Look, look, the Titan giant ape cried. What does this mean? It means that it admits it. Hearing this, the Titan giant ape cooperated again and let out a strange cry. Let go of Xiao Wu. Tang San roared angrily and launched an attack on the Titan giant ape. Except for the clear sky hammer, Tang San used all the means of attack he had at this stage. Originally, this kind of attack on the Titan giant ape was no different from tickling, but the Titan giant ape was now completely enraged by Tang San. That damn human actually aimed all his attacks at his lower body. The furious Titan giant ape had already thrown behind his head what Xiao Wu had said to it before, and launched an attack on the despicable human in front of him. Xiao Wu was about to cry in anxiety. She tried her best to comfort the other party's emotions through the special way of communication between her and the Titan giant ape, and asked the other party to take her away from here immediately. When Xiaoqi saw that the time was almost right, she shouted, Classmate Tang San, I'm here to help you. Xiaoqi rushed forward, and the next second, Xiaoqi was hit by the Titan giant ape again and flew backwards. The Titan giant ape looked at his hand in confusion. It didn't hit the human at all just now, So why did it fly away? Tang San and Xiao Wu had no intention of paying attention to Xiaoqi's situation. Tang San was still attacking desperately, and Xiao Wu warned the Titan giant ape that if he didn't take her away, he would never recognize her as Sister Xiao. At the same time, Xiaoqi, who flew away from the battlefield using the dance in the air technique, met Zhu Zhuqing, who had caught up with her, and after talking to each other for a few words, they separated again. Next, Zhu Zhuqing will secretly follow Tang San, and if he encounters the human-faced demon spider, she will help him, while Xiaoqi will begin to prepare for his hunt. Chapter 53 Armstrong Cyclone Jet Armstrong Cannon. Back at Shrek Academy, just as Zhao Wuji and his companions recovered from their injuries and prepared to pursue the Titan ape in the direction it had left, Zhu Zhuqing disappeared again. Zhao Wuji questioned Linglong and learned that Zhu Zhuqing had gone ahead, fearing for Xiaoqi's safety. Zhao Wuji remained silent, his heart completely broken. Determined to find her alive or dead, Zhao Wuji led the remaining Shrek students in pursuit. Dai Bei, Ma Hongjin, and Oscar remained silent along the way, while Linglong memorized every word Zhu Zhuqing had spoken before her departure. Just as Linglong was wondering when Davis would appear and what he would look like, Zhao Wuji suddenly stopped, summoned his spirit, and, staring intently ahead, called out, "Who is it? Come out!" Instantly, the Shrek students present were on alert, with Oscar even moving closer to Linglong. Zhao Wuji took 2 steps forward and growled, "If you don't come out, don't blame me for being rude. I thought it was someone else, but it's my good-for-nothing brother." A man who bore a passing resemblance to Dai Bei appeared, accompanied by a teasing voice. "It's you?" Dai Bei's pupils constricted upon seeing the newcomer, his body trembling uncontrollably. Through gritted teeth, he shouted, "Davis, Davis." The name gave a variety of looks to the people present. Ma Hongjin and Oscar were bewildered, they didn't recognize each other at all. Zhao Wuji's expression darkened. He had known the meaning of the name since the day he enrolled at Shrek. As for Linglong, her expression grew strange, her mind replaying Zhu Zhuqing's last words to her before she departed. Wrong, when you see someone who calls himself Davis later, don't ask too many questions, just cooperate with his actions. Davis on the opposite side looked at Dai Bei and smiled. "My dear brother, we haven't seen each other for so long, and this is how you call me brother? I don't have a brother like you." Dai Bei shouted angrily, looked around Davis, and said, "Why are you here? Where are the others? Let them come out." Davis sneered and said, "I didn't expect you to ask such a ridiculous question. It seems that you haven't made any progress in all these years outside." Zhao Wuji whispered at this time, "Bei, I used my soul power to explore the surroundings and didn't find any other soul power fluctuations. Either the other party has someone with higher soul power than me, or he should have been separated by the influence of the Titan giant ape before, but no matter what the situation is, don't be impulsive. I'll go and talk to him." Dai Bei nodded and said, "Okay, if we can't reach an agreement, Teacher Zhao, you take the others away, and I'll stay here and fight him. You're a student of Shrek Academy. How could I let you die alone?" Zhao Wuji said with a soothing smile, secretly praying that the other party would let them go. Otherwise, this trip to the starred-out Great Forest would be the end of Shrek Academy. "Respected Crown Prince, whatever the grudge between you and Bei, now is not the time to fight. Just now, the Titan ape appeared here. I'm sure you're well aware of its power. How about we leave this forest first and discuss other matters after we're out?" Zhao Wuji lowered his stance as much as possible. After all, the other party's status was too high for him to afford, nor could the entire Shrek Academy, let alone the lives of these students. Xiaoqi sneered inwardly. If time hadn't been tight, he would have really wanted to have some fun with this group. But Zhu Zhuqing had just sent him a message saying that the battle on Tang San's side was over. The Titan ape had escaped with Xiao Wu, and she was secretly following Tang San. The Shrek Academy staff could never have guessed that the Davis before them was Xiaoqi impersonating them, and with such a convincing fidelity. As the saying goes, when kid makes something, it's always a masterpiece. All of Xiaoqi's current costumes and props were made by Kuroba Kato to resemble Davis. He even purchased the disguise and voice-changing talismans from him using his own points. Kuroba Kato also explained the important points to keep in mind when impersonating someone. Combined with the reason Xiaoqi had given Zhu Zhuqing when she requested leave a few days ago, these factors meant the Shrek Academy staff wouldn't be suspicious. Xiaoqi looked at Zhao Wuji with a puzzled expression. "May I know who you are, My name is Zhao Wuji, a nobody, not worth mentioning in front of the crown prince, Zhao Wuji humbly stated. Oh, Xiaoqi nodded pretendingly, and said with a look of disdain, I have never heard of it, but I think what you said just now makes some sense. How about this? I have something to do today, you just need to hand this girl over to me, and I will leave now. How about it? Don't even think about it, Oscar roared, glaring at Davis opposite and said, I will not hand Rongrong over to you. Xiaoqi ignored Oscar's shouting, looked at Ning Rongrong with a lecherous smile, and said, Girl, I think you look good. Are you interested in going back to the Xingluo Empire with me to be the crown princess? Mo Hongjin muttered in his heart. It turns out that he is Boss Dai's biological brother. And the lecherous look is exactly the same, and Ning Rongrong also realized at this time that the other party was sending a signal to herself, and she must cooperate with the other party. However, just as she was still pondering how to cooperate without revealing any flaws, Zhao Wuji spoke up, Crown Prince, this person's identity is not simple. I cannot leave him to you. Xiaoqi frowned, her face etched with displeasure. Zhao Wuji, what do you mean? Do you all want to die here? Daimyo Bei roared. Davis, don't think I'm truly afraid of you. If you have the guts, kill me here today. Although he and Ning Rongrong were at odds, he knew that if he didn't set an example in front of so many people, even if he managed to survive this time, he would have no place in the academy. Enough, Ning Rongrong shouted, then turned to Zhao Wuji and said, Teacher Zhao, I used to be prejudiced against the academy, but when I saw how you faced the Titan Ape with such fearlessness, I realized I was wrong. So, this time, it's my turn to save you. When you return, tell my father about what happened today. He'll send someone to rescue me. Ning Rongrong said this, then resolutely walked towards Davis. Oscar wanted to step forward to stop them, but Zhao Wuji stopped him. Rongrong will be fine. No matter how bold Davis is, he wouldn't dare to attack the princess of the Seven Treasures Glazed Tile sect. Let's do as she says and don't waste her kindness. Oscar shouted at Ning Rongrong's back. Rongrong, I'll come and save you. Wait for me, you're great, little girl. Xiaoqi smiled at Ning Rongrong. Then looked at Daimyo Bei and sneered, my dear brother, see you next time. Without caring about her reaction, Xiaoqi dragged Ning Rongrong into the forest and led her to the secret weapon. Rongrong, you did well just now. As a reward, do you want to play with a cannon? Xiaoqi, Ning Rongrong was startled. Why did the voice next to her suddenly become Xiaoqi's? Xiaoqi smiled, and under Ning Rongrong's shocked gaze, she ripped off the human skin mask on her face, revealing her true face. She then quickly explained the purpose of the cannon to her. Ning Rongrong instantly became excited after hearing that the massive cannon before her was hundreds of times more powerful than her own pistol. After circling the cannon twice, she asked with a strange expression, Xiaoqi, why is this cannon so strangely shaped? Does it have any other names? Xiaoqi automatically ignored the first half of her question and smiled, saying, its full name is the Armstrong Cyclotron Jet Armstrong Cannon. Thanks to book friend Kinjin Kankan for the monthly ticket. Thanks to book friend 20180309023914185 for the monthly ticket. Thanks to book friend Longren for the monthly ticket. Thanks to book friend 20230206233410185 for the monthly ticket. Thanks to passersby who liked the novel for the tip. Thanks to book friend 20241122151935848 for the tip. Chapter 54 Xiaoqi, Ning Rongrong, Fire. Armstrong Cyclotron Accelerated Jet Armstrong Cannon. Though the name was a mouthful, Ning Rongrong repeated it word for word. Now it was Xiaoqi's turn to be shocked. He'd had Zhu Zhuqing recite the name in front of him once before, but she'd omitted either the cyclotron or the accelerated in the middle. Could it be that Ning Rongrong is actually a joke teller whose life as a spirit master has held her back? Xiaoqi decided to find a few more jokes to tell her later, but right now, the most important thing was to deliver a blow to Daimyo Bei. Xiaoqi handed Ning Rongrong a lighter, taught her how to use it, and said, Rongrong, wait for my command. Fire when I tell you to. Although Xiaoqi himself found the idea of using a lighter to light a cannon a bit absurd, Sakata Gintoki had assured him that this was how the Armstrong Cyclotron Accelerated Jet Armstrong Cannon in their world worked. Ning Rongrong nodded excitedly, then walked over to the ignition device, taking a deep breath and awaiting Xiaoqi's command. Xiaoqi began adjusting the muzzle. According to Sakata Gintoki, the power of this true Armstrong cyclotron jet Armstrong cannon was as easy as drinking water and peeing, and its effective range was approximately 3,000 meters. Xiaoqi had originally considered using a thermal weapon from her own world. After all, everyone knew the credibility of Sakata Gintoki's creations. However, unable to resist his enthusiasm, and with his resolute assurances that nothing would go wrong, Xiaoqi finally decided to trust him. The 4 Shrek Academy members were now within range, with Zhao Wuji and Daimyo Bei in front, Oscar and Ma Hongjin behind them. To increase her chances of success, Xiaoqi decided to wait until they were closer before Ningrongrong fired. Before long, Xiaoqi saw Ma Hongjin across from her suddenly clutch his stomach and walk into the nearby forest, followed by Oscar. Rongrong, now, fire. Ningrongrong nervously pressed the button on her lighter. Perhaps out of nervousness, she pressed it 3 times before a flame appeared, igniting the fuse. Ningrongrong had indeed lit the fuse, but after waiting for a long time with no sound, Ningrongrong couldn't help but ask, Xiaoqi, why isn't it reacting? This isn't what you said. Damn that white-haired guy, I shouldn't have trusted him. Xiaoqi was furious. He wanted to ask that damn white-haired guy what power meant. It was like drinking water and peeing. Your urethra is blocked now, and the object is stuck inside and can't be ejected. What kind of power is that? Fortunately, Xiaoqi had a plan in mind. Just as he was about to retrieve his sniper rifle from the red envelope in the chat group, the Armstrong spin-jet Armstrong cannon unleashed a resounding roar without warning. Holy shit, ouch, unprepared, Xiaoqi and Ningrongrong were knocked to the ground by the recoil of the cannon shell. Elsewhere, Zhao Wuji and Daimyo Bei, who had also heard the roar, saw something rapidly hurtling towards them. Mu Bei, be careful. Zhao Wuji pushed Daimyo Bei aside and immediately activated his spirit form, swinging his bare paw towards the object. Boom! The moment Zhao Wuji's paw made contact with the shell, a massive explosion echoed through the forest, and flames shot up into the sky, illuminating the pitch-black night sky. Xiaoqi looked at Ningrongrong, who was lying on top of her, and said anxiously, Rongrong, get off me quickly. Let me see what's going on. Oh, okay. Ningrongrong reluctantly climbed off Xiaoqi's body. The feeling she just had was quite pleasant. However, as they stood and stared at the sea of fire ahead, their mouths simultaneously opened into an O shape. Xiaoqi felt she'd been tricked by Sakata Gintoki again. Was this the power to blow up a house? Ningrongrong, on the other hand, was astounded by the power of the Armstrong cyclotron jet Armstrong cannon. Suddenly, her pistol didn't matter anymore, she wanted a cannon. Just as Ningrongrong was imagining showing off the cannon to her father, Xiaoqi's voice reached her ears. It's hard to see here. Let's go around to the front and take a look. Before leaving, Xiaoqi fired a Kigen wave, destroying the Armstrong cyclotron jet Armstrong cannon. He would never use that jamming thing again. No, Ningrongrong let out a heartbreaking cry as she gazed at the debris on the ground. Her Armstrong spin-jet Armstrong cannon was completely destroyed. Xiaoqi looked at Ningrongrong, who was picking up the debris on the ground, and said angrily, "What are you doing? If you don't leave, I'll leave alone." Ningrongrong threw the debris in her hand and walked angrily to Xiaoqi, saying, "Xiaoqi, I hate you. I'm going to complain to Zhu Zhuqing later. What's wrong with this girl?" Xiaoqi looked at Ningrongrong walking in front of her, speechless. As the two of them approached the explosion site, they heard wailing from the sea of fire. Daimyo Bei is still alive? You must be kidding. Just as Xiaoqi was thinking about how to finish off the enemy, 3 figures emerged from the sea of fire. Holy shit, is that Daimyo Bei? Are those severed limbs in Ma Hongjin's hands Zhao Wuji's? Ningrongrong, who was also witnessing the scene beside him, vomited out. The scene before her was too bloody. Bu Li, who had been riddled with bullets before, pales in comparison. Xiaoqi, looking at Daimyo Bei before her, suddenly felt that perhaps it would be better for him to be alive. All his golden hair was gone, half his face was completely disfigured, and his body was extensively burned. Worst of all, he only had one arm left. As for Zhao Wuji, judging by the tears Oscar and Ma Hongjin were crying, all that was left of him was probably that arm and his 2 short legs. Xiaoqi sent a message to Zhu Zhuqing, telling her that the situation here had been resolved and that she was coming over to meet her. Then she looked at Ningrongrong and said, "Are you done vomiting? If you are, let's go find Zhu Zhuqing." The fun is about to begin over there, Linglong said angrily. Xiaoqi, could you please be a little gentler with me? Ugh. Xiaoqi looked at Linglong's miserable condition and kindly patted her on the back. Then she handed her a bottle of water and said, since you're so pitiful, I'll give you an extra cannon to play with next time. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 55 Titan Ape. I just came out to jump around for a while, but you want me to take the blame anyway. At that moment, Linglong, carried by Xiaoqi, felt her feelings go to waste. This guy truly had no sympathy for her. Linglong was indeed a few sizes smaller than Zhu Zhuqing, but she was still a beauty, and it wasn't like she wouldn't grow taller. Why was she being treated so differently? Xiaoqi had no time to consider Linglong's feelings. He was now speeding towards Zhu Zhuqing. From the message Zhu Zhuqing had sent him, he knew that Tang San had indeed encountered the man-faced demon spider while chasing the Titan ape. Zhu Zhuqing had appeared just in time to break the siege, allowing Tang San to pursue Xiao Wu first. But, as expected, something unexpected happened. Not long after, Tang San suddenly returned and told Zhu Zhuqing that he had reached level 30 and needed the man-faced demon spider as his third spirit ring. Zhu Zhuqing, of course, wouldn't give up the man-faced demon spider, and so the two of them were now fighting over the man-faced demon spider's head. When Xiaoqi and Linglong arrived above the scene, the man-faced demonic spider was already near death. Tang San and Zhu Zhuqing were simultaneously delivering their final blows. However, both were employing unconventional tactics. Tang San unleashed his huge divine crossbow, while Zhu Zhuqing unleashed her desert eagle. The result was obvious. By the time Tang San's huge divine crossbow struck the man-faced demonic spider, it was already dead. Gear exploded. Xiaoqi's eyes lit up at the flickering light on the man-faced demonic spider's corpse. She lifted Linglong and flung her towards Zhu Zhuqing, then flew at full speed towards the corpse. Ah! Linglong screamed in agony as she was thrown. This wasn't a matter of mercy, this was a death sentence. Zhuqing, you must catch me. Meanwhile, Xiaoqi, having successfully acquired the 8 spider lance, sold it directly to the chat group's online store for 5,000 points. Initially, Xiaoqi was puzzled as to how such a divine artifact, considered a sacred artifact in Daluo continent, could be worth so few points, but upon seeing the word's initial form displayed on the online store, he felt relieved. Returning to Zhu Zhuqing's side, Xiaoqi observed Tang San's now furious expression and quipped, Tang San, what's wrong with you? Why do you look so constipated? Tang San glared at Zhu Zhuqing with indignation and demanded, Zhu Zhuqing, why did you try to steal my human-faced demon spider? You clearly already have a third spirit ring. At this point, he didn't care at all why Zhu Zhuqing's third spirit ring was black, nor did he care what the iron lump in her hand was, or even that Xiaoqi could fly. He had just left the human-faced demon spider, feeling a sense of something important slipping away from him, and with a sense of unease, he returned. The feeling Zhu Zhuqing had felt after killing the human-faced demon spider returned, even more intense than before. Xiaoqi smiled and said, Tang San, first of all, I must correct you. This human-faced demon spider doesn't belong to any of us. As for Zhuqing's insistence on killing it, the reason is quite simple. Just now, when the Titan ape flung me away, I was nearly killed by this human-faced demon spider. She simply wanted revenge for me, just like you wanted to reclaim Xiao Wu from the Titan ape. Xiaoqi told Tang San a bunch of random nonsense. Whether he believed it or not was none of his business. He had considered killing Tang San here, but had given up the idea for the sake of points. If Tang San died, he and Zhu Zhuqing would gain an unknown amount of points, but he figured the story mission here would be over. He desperately needed points. That wicked woman, Nami, had actually offered the gravity room for an exorbitant 50,000 points. She'd even said it was a friendly price. Even if you, Xiaoqi, spent 50,000 points, you wouldn't necessarily be able to draw one. A single gravity room costs 50,000 points. If other group members were to draw something like a time travel card, a King Ken, or something else useful to them, who knows what exorbitant prices they'd demand. Of course, there was another, more important reason. Once the mission was over, He'd return to his own deserted world, sleeping alone every day in misery. Therefore, killing Tang San would have to wait until all his value was drained out. At his rate of growth, killing Tang San would be easy. Tang San continued to question, Zhu Zhuqing, why didn't you tell us about obtaining your third spirit ring? If you had told us earlier, we wouldn't have encountered the Titan Ape today, and Xiao Wu wouldn't have been captured by them. Brother, just then, a slender figure ran out of the woods. The sudden voice startled Tang San, and when he saw the familiar figure sprinting towards him, he opened his arms and lunged towards Xiao Wu. Xiaoqi looked at Zhu Zhuqing and smiled. Zhuqing, we've been reunited for so long, why don't you give me a hug? Zhu Zhuqing said coldly. Why, wasn't it enough that you just hugged Rongrong? Rongrong already confessed everything about you and her. I don't have a damn thing to do with her. Xiaoqi was furious, and even more furious was that Ning Rongrong was hiding behind Zhu Zhuqing, making all sorts of provocative faces at him. Ning Rongrong, your cannon is gone. Ning Rongrong immediately took offense. She stormed over to Xiaoqi, hands on her hips, chest puffed out, and said, why? You promised me that, why? Xiaoqi laughed at her words. I wish I could stuff you into my cannon and shoot you out. You, just wait. Ning Rongrong, knowing she was no match for Xiaoqi in eloquence, ran to Zhu Zhuqing and began to accuse her of all the evil deeds she had just done to her. Zhu Zhuqing had long seen through Ning Rongrong's thoughts, but she was in such a good mood that she played along. However, there were always those who didn't know how to spoil this wonderful atmosphere. Tang San, leading Xiao Wu to her side, questioned her again. Zhu Zhuqing, although Xiao Wu is fine now, everyone is injured because of you. You must give us an explanation. Zhu Zhuqing glanced at Xiao Wu and said coldly, although I don't need to explain anything to you, I don't like being pestered by men other than Xiaoqi. My third spirit ring was actually given to me by the Titan Ape. While chasing Xiaoqi, I encountered a dying 10,000-year-old spirit beast, which offered it to me. Do you think I could have absorbed the 10,000-year-old spirit ring under normal circumstances? Tang San was speechless. Zhu Zhuqing's words made sense and he couldn't find any fault with him. He had learned this knowledge from Yu Xiaogang. Xiao Wu stole a glance at Zhu Zhuqing. She didn't recall encountering any spirit beasts when the Titan Ape had just taken her away. And the other party's explanation roughly matched what she had prepared. Just then, another figure appeared from the woods. Xiaoqi saw that it was the middle school girl Meng Yiren, and wondered, I thought they wouldn't show up, but why is she alone? Where are those two old men and women? However, Meng Yiren's next move startled everyone present. Reaching Xiaoqi's side, Meng Yiren suddenly dropped to his knees, pleading, please save my grandparents. They were injured by the Titan Ape and are now seriously wounded and dying. Thank you to Duduin Wonga for your monthly ticket. Thank you to Bookfriend 2021030110537488079 for your monthly ticket. Thank you to Bookfriend 20201281810435542 for your monthly ticket. Chapter 56 Oops, I accidentally poked Takesaki Kurumi's nest. Oh, this, Xiaoqi was bewildered. What was Meng Yiren up to now? A Dalo continent version of a honey trap? But when she caught Xiao Wu's complicated gaze at Meng Yiren, she instantly understood, it was most likely true. Interesting. Whether the Titan Ape did it intentionally or not, after this, Meng Yiren will definitely become sworn enemies with Tang San and Xiao Wu once she learns the truth. Then all he needs to do is manipulate the situation, and the points will pour in. Seeing Xiaoqi standing there unmoved, Meng Yiren knelt before him. She grabbed his trouser leg and pleaded tearfully, please, as long as you're willing to save my grandparents, I'll agree to anything. She was desperate. Although she had a grudge against this man before, she was running out of time. If she delayed any longer, her grandparents would truly die. Her reason for choosing Xiaoqi was simple. After the previous incident, she naturally assumed she would be the leader of this group. Points. That's not right, middle school girl, that's not right either. Well, you get up first and take us to see your grandparents, but I'm not a healing soul master, I can't guarantee that I can save them. Xiaoqi said the ugly words in advance, so as not to end up with the other party not only failing to provide her with points but also causing her trouble. That would be a loss. Thank you, Meng Yiren, who had been kneeling on the ground, thanked Xiaoqi profusely before standing up and timidly asking, shall we go now? You lead the way. Xiaoqi nodded, then turned to Zhu Zhuqing and Ningrongrong and said, "Let's go take a look together." Tang San, who was about to follow, noticed Xiao Wu, who looked a little uneasy beside him, and asked with concern, "Xiao Wu, what's wrong with you?" "I'm fine." Xiao Wu shook her head and looked at Tang San. "Brother, I want to go find Teacher Zhao and the others." She didn't dare to see those two right now, and she didn't want Tang San to go either. Ultimately, this matter was related to Tang San. The Titan Ape had just taken out all the anger it had incurred at Tang San on those two. To avoid exposing her relationship with the Titan Ape, she didn't stop him. Tang San stroked Xiao Wu's hair and smiled. "Okay, then let's go find Teacher Zhao and the others." Elsewhere, when Meng Yiren, Su Xiaoqi, Zhu Zhuqing, and Ningrongrong arrived at the location of Dragon Lord and Snake Lady, Dragon Lord had already expired, and Snake Lady was now breathing in more than out, her death only a matter of time. Seeing this, Su Xiaoqi channeled some of her own energy into Snake Lady, allowing her and Meng Yiren to say their goodbyes. Ningrongrong, observing the tragic scene before her, angrily declared, "This Titan Ape is truly despicable. If Grandpa Sword and Grandpa Bone were here, I would have them kill it." "Zhuqing, I'll go over there and take a look. You can talk to Rongrong about Tang San and Xiao Wu." After spending these days together and seeing her behavior, Su Xiaoqi felt she could finally share some of the details, but only about the Daluo continent. Before her death, Snake Lady asked Su Xiaoqi for several favors, but she wouldn't fully commit, only saying she would do her best. There were some things he could help with, but there were others he couldn't. After burying the Dragon Man and the Snake Woman together, Su Xiaoqi looked at Meng Yiren, who was immersed in grief, and said, "If you want to avenge your grandparents, start working hard to make yourself stronger starting tomorrow. Although we will provide you with help, the most important thing is to rely on yourself." Zhu Zhuqing nodded at Meng Yiren. Ningrongrong looked at her and encouraged her. "Meng Yiren, come on." She already knew some of the things and had just promised Zhu Zhuqing that they would always be friends on the same front in the future. As long as Su Xiaoqi gave her a few cannons, she could even rush to the front. "Thank you." Meng Yiren bowed deeply to the group before him, raised his head, wiped his tears, and looked at Su Xiaoqi with a determined gaze, saying, "I will strive to become stronger and avenge my grandparents." Su Xiaoqi nodded and said, "Say goodbye to your grandparents one last time. Then we'll find a place to stay for the night. I'll help you find a suitable soul beast tomorrow morning." Afterwards, they found a suitable place to camp. Su Xiaoqi asked Ningrongrong to accompany Meng Yiren to rest first, while he and Zhu Zhuqing took charge of the night watch. Although they were supposed to be on guard, they were both waiting for midnight, looking forward to today's harvest. Hint: group member Su Xiaoqi successfully changed the plot and received 18,000 points. Hint: group member Zhu Zhuqing successfully changed the plot and received 25,000 points. The moment the reward notification appeared, Su Xiaoqi looked at Zhu Zhuqing excitedly and said, "Zhuqing, why don't we go take down Tang San? I'm sure we'll get a lot of points." He had done so much this time, but none of it could compare to Zhu Zhuqing's single-shot takedown of the man-faced demon spider. It was easy to imagine how much money Tang San must have. Zhu Zhuqing rolled her eyes and said, "I don't mind, but can you get used to sleeping alone now?" Oh, Su Xiaoqi froze. He couldn't resist this damn temptation. After buying the gravity house he'd been coveting from Nami, Su Xiaoqi nearly vomited blood. The gravity house was selling for 2,000 yuan at the mall, and that ruthless woman, Nami, had made a full 25 times what he'd earned. After counting their remaining points with Zhu Zhuqing, Su Xiaoqi decided to go all in. These scoundrels were too ruthless. He had to rely on himself. Su Xiaoqi had already decided, if he could draw a time travel card, he'd go take down Tang San tomorrow. Heaven and earth, bless me with good stuff. Before starting the draw, Su Xiaoqi prayed as usual, then deeply inhaled Zhu Zhuqing's immortal energy. Hint: congratulations to Su Xiaoqi for winning a Doraemon-style bamboo dragonfly. Hint: congratulations to Su Xiaoqi for winning a pair of storage rings. Hint: congratulations to Su Xiaoqi for winning a Katsuki Taro-style wig. Hint: congratulations to Su Xiaoqi for winning a commemorative Ultraman Tiga wand. Hint: congratulations to Su Xiaoqi for winning a Senzu bean. Hint: congratulations to Su Xiaoqi for winning 520 points. Hint: congratulations to Su Xiaoqi for winning 1,314 points. Hint: congratulations to Su Xiaoqi for winning a pair of Takesaki Kurumi's original underwear. Hint: Congratulations to Xiaoqi for winning a Takesaki Kirumi school uniform. Hint. Congratulations to Xiaoqi for winning a kimono-clad Kirumi figurine. Hint. Congratulations to Xiaoqi for winning an eye-patch Kirumi figurine. Hint. Congratulations to Xiaoqi for winning a bandage Kirumi figurine. Hint. Congratulations to Xiaoqi for winning a lolly Kirumi figurine. Hint. Congratulations to Xiaoqi for winning a parahuman-type transparent fruit. Hint. Congratulations to Xiaoqi for winning. Xiaoqi. Damn, did I poke Takesaki Kirumi's lair? Nami. Although I know I shouldn't laugh at this time, I really can't help it. Ha ha ha. Linglong. Me too. Ha ha ha. Kato Kuroba. At Xiaoqi. Do you have any unspeakable stories with this Takesaki Kirumi lady? Gintoki Sakata. Takakio. Sister, does Jin-san need a shot from his Armstrong Spinjet Armstrong cannon? Takesaki Kirumi. Allah. If you like these, just let me know later. Zhu Zhuqing's face darkened when she saw Takesaki Kirumi's message. Xiaoqi, don't participate in the lottery anymore. Chapter 57, Sakata Gintoki who wants the transparent fruit. Linglong. Zhuqing, can I interview you about your current mood? Kuroba Kato. 30 draws. Takesaki Kirumi made the list 6 times. If you didn't know, you'd think she was the one drawing. Nami, wait. I think I just saw some kind of devil fruit. Sakata Gintoki. At Xiaoqi. Big brother, Jin-san was wrong just now. Jin-san will never get involved with these women again. Linglong. Nami. Linglong, ignore him. I know what this white-haired guy is up to at Xiaoqi. Are you selling this devil fruit? Sakata Gintoki. At Xiaoqi. Don't worry, Takesaki Kirumi. Oh, Xiaoqi, you're not kidding me, are you? After all, that's my favorite of the 4 heavenly kings. Sakata Gintoki. At Takesaki Kirumi, can you give Jin-san one of your swimsuit figurines to play with? Takesaki Kirumi, I can give you a clone of me. Aside from being a little disobedient occasionally, you can do whatever you want with her. Sakata Gintoki. Huh? What? Jin-san, why can't I see the screen all of a sudden? Did the new Baji virus invade the entire chat group? Takesaki Kirumi. Haha, Jin-san, you're really entertaining. Sakata Gintoki. Assholes, stop making Jin-san keep repeating himself. Jin-san isn't meant to be played with by you. Kuroba Kato, did you resolve that virus so quickly? Sakata Gintoki. Oh no, Jin-san, why did she suddenly disappear again? Kuroba Kato. Xiaoqi didn't have time to deal with these idiots. He and Zhu Zhuqing were sorting through the items they had just drawn. Although Zhu Zhuqing was initially angry, she instantly became a docile cat under the influence of Xiaoqi's stored ring. However, she naturally put the items related to Takesaki Kirumi into her own stored ring. Xiaoqi smiled at the transparent fruit in her hand. This was a man's dream. With his power, he could do many things he normally wanted but couldn't. If he didn't have Saiyan blood, he would have eaten it, but now it was different. He wouldn't give himself a weakness for no reason. Hint. Xiaoqi sends a red envelope to Sakata Gintoki. Sakata Gintoki. At Xiaoqi. Woohoo, Jin-san loves you. Jin-san will take all kinds of photos of you from now on. Linglong. At Xiaoqi. You're not really going to give him the transparent fruit, are you? Sakata Gintoki. At Xiaoqi. You idiot. Why a wig? Jin-san wants the transparent fruit. Linglong. Sorry, I overthought it. Xiaoqi. At Nami. Why do you want the transparent fruit? Do you have that kind of fetish? Nami, go away. Just tell me whether you want to sell it or not. Xiaoqi. 100,000. Nami, Oni-chan. Xiaoqi. 110,000. Nami, you've taken it all, right? Give me back my gravity room. Xiaoqi. Oh, you still dare to mention the gravity room to me? You've made 25 times as much as I did. Don't you feel guilty? Nami, why should my conscience feel guilty? It was a matter of our mutual consent. I said I'd kill you, and you agreed. Xiaoqi, you're so cruel. The transparent fruit is only 100,000. Take it or leave it. Nami, you can keep it for yourself. Kuroba Kato, I think this transparent fruit will work even better with my magic. When I save enough points, can you give me a discount? Xiaoqi, okay, we can talk it over between us. Sakata Gintoki. Hey, the transparent fruit isn't for magic. At Xiaoqi, you should understand. Xiaoqi, I don't know shit. I couldn't use the transparent fruit to spy on a girl taking a bath, Linglong. You're admitting your guilt, aren't you, Nami? Sister Zhu Zhuqing, you see, this fruit and that crappy magic skill are only safest with us women. Zhu Zhuqing, I've already confiscated the transparent fruit. Sakata Gintoki, no, how can you deprive us men of our happiness? Xiaoqi, keep the transparent fruit for Jin-san. Jin-san, I'll go get the points tomorrow. Linglong, am I seeing right? You're the most lazy person in the entire chat group. Is it worth it for a transparent fruit? Sakata Gintoki, for the transparent fruit. Jin-san, I can even sacrifice my 2 golden eggs. Xiaoqi, speaking of getting points, can you all learn from Sakuragi? He works hard every day to practice and prepare for a big wave, but you guys just chat and flirt every day. Sakata Gintoki, Xiaoqi, if you say that, Jin-san has to give you a good lecture. How do you know if the ball he's practicing is legitimate? And, are you sure he's not practicing Akaji Haruko's ball? Xiaoqi, damn it, can you think straight, you bastard? Tokisaki Kurumi, so what exactly is this ball you're talking about? Sakata Gintoki, Kurumi-chan, you'll know when you grow up a little bit. Tokisaki Kurumi, hey, Nami, who said I didn't work hard? We're about to enter the Grand Line. I'm planning a big Alabasta storyline this time. What do you think? Are you interested? Linglong, same here. I still have half a month to go before the Luotian Grand Ceremony. By then, Zhang Qiulin will have Feng Bao to guide him, and I have the Saiyans to back me up. I'm going to take first place this time. Hey, Xiaoqi, sure. As long as there are points to earn, I'll be there whenever you call. Xiaoqi, I'll keep the transparent fruit for you. Except for Nami, the price is negotiable for anyone else who wants it. Nami, targeting me, huh? Fine, wait until I draw what you need next time and see how I'll rip you off. Xiaoqi, wait until you draw it first. I don't believe your luck can always be this good. Nami, we'll see. I don't believe you can draw anything good again, don't you, Zhuqing? After a long wait for Zhu Zhuqing's response, Xiaoqi turned around to find her already asleep on his shoulder. Thank you for your hard work today. Good night. After a night of rest, everyone else, except Xiaoqi, who was a little sleepy, had returned to their best form. Thank you for your hard work last night. I'll make it up to you when we get back. Zhu Zhuqing's words instantly restored Xiaoqi to full health. After packing up, the group set out to find a suitable soul beast for Meng Yiren. Although Meng Yiren still hasn't gotten over the death of her grandparents, her spirits are much better than they were yesterday. While searching for a spirit master, she took the initiative to tell Xiaoqi and the others about her situation and the types of spirit beasts suitable for her 3rd spirit ring. Perhaps it was due to the law of karmic retribution, but after searching for quite some time, they unexpectedly encountered a phoenix-tailed cockatrice snake, approximately 1,500 years old. I didn't expect to go so far in a circle and end up back where I started. Xiaoqi sighed as she watched Meng Yiren absorb the phoenix-tailed cockatrice snake spirit ring. Thank you to all the readers who liked the novel and gave me a tip. I received a test drive today, and I'd like to thank all the readers who have been following this book. Thank you. Chapter 58. The man who was scolded the most in Daluo continent is here. Meng Yiren's 3rd spirit skill didn't grant flight like Oscar, nor did it inherit the phoenix-tailed cockapoo's speed. Instead, it inherited its colorful mist ability. Mist? Huh? Not bad, huh? Xiaoqi nodded, looking at the hazy mist surrounding them. This skill was good for team fights and escaping, but unfortunately it lacked any offensive power. If it had some poison, it would be perfect. Xiaoqi, thank you. Without your help, I wouldn't have been able to obtain this spirit ring. Meng Yiren bowed to Xiaoqi. I have no family left in this world. Can I follow you from now on? Well, don't you still have the Exotic Beast Academy to go to? It was truly what he feared. Yesterday, before she died, the snake lady asked him to take care of Meng Yiren, but he hadn't agreed. Meng Yiren was truly pitiful. If it were just a small favor, it wouldn't matter, but he didn't know how much longer he could stay here, and how he could even take care of the situation. That place is filled with memories of me and my grandparents. I don't want to go back. I have nowhere else to go now, Meng Yiren said, tears streaming down his face. Zhu Zhuqing looked at Xiaoqi and said, let Meng Yiren come with us. Rongrong will have a companion from now on. Ningrongrong then took Meng Yiren's hand and said, Yiren, Let's play by ourselves from now on. I'm telling you, you shouldn't beg that cold-blooded man. He has no sense of sympathy for women. Xiaoqi, now too lazy to argue with Linglong, looked at Meng Yiren and said, "Do you think this is okay?" Meng Yiren nodded and thanked Zhu Zhuqing and Linglong respectively. Xiaoqi said, "Alright, let's get out of the starred-out Great Forest as soon as possible while it's still light. We'll stay in the small town tonight and return to Soto City tomorrow." On the way from the starred-out Great Forest to the hotel in the small town where they had arrived, Xiaoqi and the other three hadn't encountered Tang-san or Daimubei's group. The next morning, before leaving, Xiaoqi looked at the girl next to Linglong, her face clean and her clothes fresh, and asked in confusion, "Who are you, girl?" "Ha ha ha." Linglong immediately covered her stomach and laughed out loud. Meng Yiren, who was next to her, also covered her mouth and laughed, saying, "I'm Meng Yiren, don't you recognize me?" "What the hell? You're Meng Yiren? Are you kidding?" Xiaoqi felt a little bit hard to accept this reality. Yesterday's middle school girl had transformed into the girl next door today. The contrast was too great. Zhu Zhuqing was also slightly shocked by Meng Yiren's current appearance. Meng Yiren looked much more comfortable now than before. Meng Yiren looked at Xiaoqi and said, "I don't know why you called me a Chunibiao before, but I think it has something to do with my style. So I wanted to change up my look and say goodbye to my old self." "Yeah, that's fine. A change of style isn't bad either." Xiaoqi nodded at Meng Yiren, but inwardly thought it was a shame. He had been dreaming of a future where Meng Yiren would hold a snake staff and recite along Chunibiao line, ending with a loud explosion. After a long day of traveling, the four of them finally returned to the Rose Hotel in Soto City. Without taking any rest, Xiaoqi greeted Zhu Zhuqing and then went alone to a secluded spot on the outskirts of Soto City to retrieve the gravity room. "Wow! I didn't expect it to be this gravity room." The gravity room in front of Xiaoqi resembled the spaceship Kakarot had taken to Namek, and it even came with an instruction manual. After entering the gravity room, Xiaoqi adjusted the gravity to 10 times according to the instructions and began training. For the next 3 days, Xiaoqi went out early every morning to practice, spending her evenings with Zhu Zhuqing and occasionally checking in on the others. Nami's encounter with the Wiwai at Upside Down Mountain triggered the Alabasta story quest, which was once again open to all. However, Nami didn't rush everyone there. She wanted to give Luffy and the others some training before reaching Alabasta. Since Nami had conquered Kokoja village on her own, Luffy now had no bounty and wasn't even considered a true pirate. Sakuragi Hanamichi had only a few days left before school started. He'd promised to find Akaji Haruko on the first day and then challenge the gorilla. This time, he'd become Shihoku's ace and crush Rukao Kid. Xiaoqi had also asked him whose special moves from Kurako's basketball he'd learned recently. Sakuragi Hanamichi kept it a secret, saying he'd show them off to everyone once the story quest was triggered. Linglong was also preparing for the Lu Ocean Grand Ceremony. This time, she not only wanted to take first place, but also wipe out Quan Xing's gang, taking every possible point. As for Kuroba Kato, his current timeline shows that Kudo Shinichi has become Conan, but Hibara AI hasn't appeared yet. He's also considering whether to rescue Minayano Shiho to get some points. As for Takesaki Kurumi, Xiaoqi saw that she had been quite well behaved recently, so she told her about the anime Date Alive and waited for her to make her own decision after watching it. As for Sakata Gintoki, well, our Gintoki is still the same Gintoki. He had long forgotten what he said about getting points that night. Every day, he could be seen flirting with various girls in the chat group, discussing adult topics. Stop chatting, take a shower and go to bed. I'm sleepy. Xiaoqi looked at Zhu Zhuqing, wearing a black lace suspender, and immediately abandoned the group of idiots to run to the shower. It was the same empty talk, the one in the chat group and the one with Zhu Zhuqing. Any man would know which choice to make. That afternoon, after lunch in Soto City, Xiaoqi and the others planned to visit Shrek Academy. He figured 3 days had passed, and as long as the gang was still alive, it was about time they returned. When the four of them arrived at the Shrek Academy gate, they heard occasional cries of mourning. Looking at Linglong and Meng Yiren, who were playing around nearby, Xiaoqi warned, "You two, both of you, stay serious for a while. When you need to cry, squeeze out a few tears." "Got you," Meng Yiren nodded obediently. Since joining this small group, she had redefined many things. She now had a blind admiration for Zhu Zhuqing. Ningrongrong pouted unhappily. What if I can't squeeze out any tears? Zhu Zhuqing replied angrily. If you can't, just force yourself. You'll get some. As they entered Shrek Academy and reached the playground, Zhu Zhuqing immediately recognized the man standing next to Flanders. The man who was scolded the most and was also the most annoying in the entire Daluo continent had arrived. And now, this man was walking towards Zhu Zhuqing with his hands behind his back and his head held high. Chapter 59, telling Tang San about the way to death. It feels so good. Zhu Zhuqing felt that, putting everything else aside, the dejected image Yu Zhigang gave him was truly unpleasant. Before he could even take a second to examine Yu Zhigang across from him, everyone on the playground turned their gaze towards them. Classmates, teachers, what's wrong with you? Also, who is this mummy? Is there someone like that in our academy? Zhu Zhuqing walked over to Daimyo Bei, who was wrapped like a mummy, and almost lost control of her facial expression. The word miserable could no longer be used to describe this. What surprised Zhu Zhuqing was that Flanders did not ask him anything. Instead, he seemed a little concerned about them. I'm glad that you guys are back. I've already heard about it from Tang San. You've had hard work this time. It's just that Teacher Zhao? Zhu Zhuqing followed up on what he said and asked, what happened to Teacher Zhao? By the way, where is he? I still want to thank him very much. Teacher Zhao? Flanders choked when he mentioned Zhao Wuji again, sighed heavily, and recounted what he had heard from Oscar and Ma Hongjin. How could this happen? Zhu Zhuqing's expression changed from initial shock to confusion and then to grief, and finally she shouted, Teacher Zhao, why did you die? And even your body was not left. How can I worship you in the future? Then, he walked to Daimyo Bei's side, squatted down and comforted him. Classmate Daimyo Bei, although there were some minor conflicts between us before, don't worry, I have remembered this grudge of Davis, and you can rest assured to recover from your injuries in the future. When the time comes, I will ask someone in my hometown to help you with plastic surgery, and then give you a prosthesis, and guarantee that you can regain your strength. Ningrongrong on the side was stunned. She now doubted whether Zhu Zhuqing had done the whole thing. The acting was too realistic. No, it seems I was the one who fired the shot. Ningrongrong, thinking this, suddenly felt a surge of self-blame. After trying several times to hold back tears, she looked at Daimyo Bei and said, Boss Dai, I didn't expect things to turn out like this. If you need anything in the future, just ask. Our 7 Treasures glazed tile sect will definitely help you. Zhu Zhuqing looked at Daimyo Bei calmly and said, I don't want to dwell on the past. Just focus on recovering from your injuries. I hope you can be at my wedding with Zhuqing. I'll go. Zhu Zhuqing was shocked to hear this. When had her Zhuqing become so sinister? Look, she'd made Daimyo Bei vomit blood in anger. I'm glad to see the changes in you all. Flanders nodded in satisfaction. Then, looking at Ningrongrong, he said, Rongrong, I have something to ask you. Flanders was simply asking about Ningrongrong's escape from Davis. Ningrongrong, prepared for this, shifted the blame onto the Titan Ape. After being taken away by Davis, she encountered the Titan Ape. Davis used her as bait to protect his own life. While fleeing in the forest, she encountered Zhu Zhuqing, who saved her. Zhu Zhuqing then said, Dean Flanders, that Titan Ape is abominable. If it hadn't appeared, none of the events that followed would have happened, and Teacher Zhao wouldn't have met his tragic death at the hands of others. I propose that a few of us here swear an oath right now to not stop until the Titan Ape is killed. I agree. Ningrongrong raised her hand first. Zhu Zhuqing had already promised her that she would give her a chance to play with a cannon when fighting the Titan Ape in the future. Meng Yiren followed suit, saying, I agree too. My grandparents died at its hands, and I want revenge. Zhu Zhuqing, Oscar, and Ma Hongjin soon followed suit, leaving only Tang San and Xiao Wu undecided. Xiao Wu would definitely not express her opinion, and when Tang San was about to agree under the gaze of everyone, Yu Zhigang suddenly shouted, You are messing around. Zhu Zhuqing looked at Yu Zhigang unhappily and said, Who are you? It's none of your business if we want to avenge Teacher Zhao. Tang San walked up to Zhu Zhuqing and looked her straight in the face and said, Please mind your attitude. This is the teacher I respect the most. Zhu Zhuqing sneered and said disdainfully, He is your teacher, so Teacher Zhao won't say your teacher? Aren't you afraid that Teacher Zhao will be disappointed if you treat him differently like this? You? Tang San was about to open his mouth to refute the other party when Yu Zhigang stretched out his hand to stop him. Xiao San, I'll talk to him in person. Xiaoqi put his hands behind his back, faced Zhu Zhuqing, and said arrogantly, "You are Zhu Zhuqing, right? I know a little about you. Let me ask you, why didn't you stop Zhu Zhuqing from killing the human-faced demon spider? Do you know how important that human-faced demon spider was to Zio-san? And yet you killed it out of your own selfish vengeance, wasting that precious spirit ring." Xiaoqi, increasingly excited, turned his gaze to Meng Yiren. "You even left Tang San and Xiao Wu there for a complete stranger. If anything happened to them, could you bear the responsibility? I'll take your mother's responsibility, you idiot." Zhu Zhuqing hadn't expected Xiaoqi to say such a thing. He'd been trying to put on a show, but now he'd just go for it, no explanation needed. Tang San's eyes reddened as he roared, "Zhu Zhuqing, I already told you to watch your attitude. Apologize to my teacher right now, or I'll blame you for being ruthless." "What kind of friendship? Don't make it sound like we're on good terms. If you keep on talking nonsense, you'll be damned." Zhu Zhuqing felt incredibly satisfied watching Tang San's stunned expression. There was nothing better than defeating him with his words. He didn't care if Tang Hao came looking for trouble, he even hoped he would. After 3 days in the gravity room, he was just starving for a fight. "Shut up. Do you two want Teacher Zhao to die in humiliation?" Flanders shouted. He felt exhausted. The Daimyo incident had just passed, and now it was Tang San's turn. He couldn't really blame Zhu Zhuqing this time, though. She was simply seeking revenge for Zhao Wuji. But Xiaoqi was someone he had specifically left behind to teach these students, and he was also a longtime friend. He couldn't let her down. Zhu Zhuqing looked at Flanders and said, "Dean Flanders, I don't want to say anything else. I brought Meng Yiren here today to get her to join Shrek Academy. This was also Rongrong and Zhuqing's idea. It was a threat, a naked threat." Flanders knew Zhu Zhuqing had mentioned Zhu Zhuqing and Ning Rongrong's names as a warning to him. If he didn't agree, they would probably run away. Daimyo was already useless. If these two were to leave, his Shrek Academy would be completely ruined. Furthermore, Xiaoqi had previously told him that his ideal team size was 7. Thinking of this, Flanders looked at Meng Yiren and said, "Please introduce yourself first." Meng Yiren stepped forward and said, "Meng Yiren, 16 years old, level 31 Soul Master, Martial Soul Snake Staff, 16 years old, level 31 is a bit low." Flanders was unimpressed with Meng Yiren's soul power level. Just as he was hesitating, Xiaoqi beside him suddenly spoke up, "Let her join. Although her soul power level is a bit low, with my careful training, she can play a role in team battles in the future. Thanks to the book friend Lokimi for the monthly ticket I've long since given up. Thanks to the book friend 2017112622125957 for the monthly ticket. Thanks to the book friends Honga and Saki for recording G's monthly ticket." Chapter 60 Oscar gets the good guy card. "Who the hell do you think you are?" Meng Yiren had a bad temper to begin with. She'd already been trying to control herself when he'd called her irrelevant, and now he was being completely derogatory, so naturally, she wasn't going to indulge him any further. "Don't misunderstand, little girl. Xiaoqi doesn't have any other intentions. I agree to your joining Shrek Academy." Seeing the tension rising again, Flanders stepped in to smooth things over. He felt a little resentful towards his old friend. "You told him to at least act politely in front of others," he said. It wouldn't have been pleasant for anyone to hear that. Tang San now bore a grudge against Meng Yiren as well. Anyone who disrespected his teacher would be punished with death. Xiaoqi paid no heed to Meng Yiren's words. He'd heard all sorts of harsh words over the years, so what did this mean? Maintaining his aloof demeanor, he looked at the crowd and said calmly, "My name is Xiaoqi, and I'll be teaching all of you from tomorrow. No matter what conditions Flanders promised some of you, you're all the same to me. I have my own teaching rules. I'll tell you what they are after the class officially begins tomorrow. If you want to become stronger, you must obey every one of my requirements." Psycho, Zhu Zhuqing cursed and left without a glance back. He had other things to do and didn't have time to bother with Xiaoqi anymore. He'd give him a good slap in the face tomorrow. Zhu Zhuqing, Ning Rongrong, and Meng Yiren didn't even spare a glance at Xiaoqi before following him out. Just as the four of them reached the academy entrance, Oscar suddenly caught up with them. "Rongrong, wait a minute." Ning Rongrong knew what he was going to say without hesitation. She looked at Oscar and said directly, "Oscar, you're a good person, but I'm not as good as you think. You should find someone else in the future." I wish you happiness." Xiaoqi was speechless as Linglong, who was forcing herself into drama, said, "What you said could easily be misunderstood." Okay, hearing this, Oscar's eyes were bloodshot as Xiaoqi had expected, and he roared, "Did that Davis do something to you?" Linglong didn't react to Oscar's words at first. She just wanted to tell Oscar that she had been led astray by Xiaoqi and there was no turning back. She and he were no longer on the same page. However, as a seasoned driver, she quickly reacted. To dissuade him from his thoughts, Linglong tearfully said, "Oscar, if it weren't for Zhu Zhuqing and Yeren counseling me these past few days, I'd have lost all joy in life. I'd already been slowly letting this matter fade away, so why do you insist on making me think about it again? That Davis not only let me play with him, but he also let me play with him, and what infuriates me is that I actually found joy in him, so, please don't come to me again. I don't deserve your affection." Linglong ran off. Having to run, she was about to burst out laughing. "Oh my god, Linglong, you're a real talent." Xiaoqi didn't know where Linglong had learned these words, but he was truly convinced. This was even worse than anything he had done. Oscar watched Linglong's back, wanting to chase but not daring to. Heartbroken, he roared to the sky, "Davis, I will kill you." Elsewhere, Xiaoqi said goodbye to the other women and left. He was going to go get some points this afternoon and, by the way, rapidly increase Zhu Zhuqing's strength. After all, the upcoming Alabasta plot was far more dangerous than the previous one in Kokoja village. Even if he went there to collect points, he couldn't risk his life. His next destination was the Yin-Yang Eyes of Ice and Fire. He would go there openly to obtain the magical grass. Soto City was a bit far from Sunset Forest, but that wasn't a problem for Xiaoqi. After 3 days of training in 10 times gravity, his airborne flight speed was significantly faster than before. While the exact location of the Yin-Yang Eyes of Ice and Fire wasn't explicitly mentioned in the anime, it was mentioned to be located between the cliffs in the center of Sunset Forest, and surrounded by a poison array set by Dugubo with these distinct characteristics. Xiaoqi, flying through the Sunset Forest, quickly found a spot with similar features. "Yes, that's it," Xiaoqi beamed as she gazed at the conspicuous yin-yang spring below. After controlling her ki to create a barrier around her to defend against the surrounding poison array, she flew downward. Arriving within the yin-yang eye, Xiaoqi wandered around, her eyes sparkling with the magical herbs scattered across the ground. These very things were considered valuable points to him. It was a shame she didn't see Dugubo. He had already prepared for a fight before arriving. Xiaoqi felt that with his current strength, he could easily defeat a Tidal Daluo. Even a Titan Ape, he felt, was no match for him. Unlike other anime, where power increases linearly, in Dragon Ball, it increases exponentially. When Goku fought Raditz, his normal power was 500. A year later, when he fought Vegeta, his normal power was 8,000. Excluding the 6 months he spent on the Snake Path, this equated to a power increase of 7,500. The situation was even more dramatic between his defeat of Vegeta and his arrival on Namek. In less than a month, his normal combat power had increased by more than 10-fold. As for his transformation into Super Saiyan, combat power had become a mere number, meaningless. On the other hand, what kind of combat power system is Daluo Continent? It's just a fantasy sewer. Even a conservative estimate suggests 300 combat power is more than enough to sweep through it. Forget it, if he's not here, then let's get to work earning points. While Xiaoqi was happily collecting points, Tang San, far away at Shrek Academy, experienced the same feeling he'd had the last time the human-faced demon spider was snatched away, and this time it was even more intense. Tang San couldn't understand why this had been happening to him so repeatedly. He had clearly absorbed his third spirit ring, and it was still a human-faced demon spider, just a slightly younger one, only 1,100 years old. Perhaps teacher knows what's wrong with me. Confused, Tang San finally decided to seek help from his knowledgeable teacher, Uzaya Gang. Elsewhere, Xiaoqi had already completed his points harvest, though he wasn't entirely satisfied with his haul. While these immortal herbs were treasures on Daluo Continent, their trade and prices in the mall weren't high. Aside from the Acacia Heartbroken Red, the Kilo Tulip, and the 8-petaled Immortal Orchid, which he'd collected to take back home, all the other items that could be exchanged for points had only netted him less than 30,000 points. Sure enough, this fantasy world is a cesspool. It's even worse than fleecing Tang-san. Xiaoqi curled her lips, sent a message to Zhu Zhuqing asking her to prepare dinner, and then flew away. Inside the Rose Hotel, Ningrongrong watched Xiaoqi devouring her food in front of her, her heart aching. Eat, 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 all you know is eat. Even animals don't eat as much as you do. Zhu Zhuqing had previously told her and Meng Yiren that she had something for Xiaoqi upon her return. Meng Yiren, having joined recently, didn't understand, but she was different. Every time Xiaoqi brought out something truly interesting. After Xiaoqi finished all the food on the table, she wiped her mouth and looked at Ningrongrong. Rongrong, since you just cursed me in your heart, your share is gone. Ningrongrong, ? I just thought about it. You know this too? You have to be so amazing. Chapter 61, Xiaoqi wants Ningrongrong to become a female version of Sakata Gintoki. While Xiaoqi didn't have the ability to eavesdrop, Ningrongrong's every emotion was clearly visible on her face, and he wasn't stupid, so how could he not see it? He didn't know what Ningrongrong was saying about him, but that didn't stop him from teasing her. Xiaoqi pulled a box containing a heartbroken acacia red and an 8-petaled orchid from her storage ring, handing them to Zhu Zhuqing and Meng Yiren respectively. Ningrongrong curled her lips at the flowers and plants in the women's hands, saying, I thought they were some fun things, but this is it? I don't care for them at all. Xiaoqi looked at Zhu Zhuqing and said, Zhuqing, make a sample first, so this silly girl can see. Zhu Zhuqing nodded. She had already mastered the method of absorbing the heartbroken acacia red. She had failed in the original novel, but now she wouldn't have any chance of failing. Under the watchful eyes of Ningrongrong and Meng Yiren, Zhu Zhuqing absorbed the red acacia red seamlessly, without a single mishap. Zhu Zhuqing, in high spirits, kissed Xiaoqi on the cheek. I'm level 40 now. After I absorb my 4th spirit ring, I should be able to improve quite a bit. Xiaoqi smiled and said, this thing starts at least level 10 spirit power. If you're lucky enough to get a 100,000-year spirit ring as your 4th spirit ring, becoming a soul king isn't impossible. You're just bragging? Ningrongrong looked at the couple speechlessly. If you're going to lie to me, at least come up with a better excuse. Level 40, level 50, 100,000-year spirit rings, that's just a farce. Xiaoqi ignored Ningrongrong and told Meng Yiren about the effects and absorption method of the 8-petal immortal orchid. He felt that of all the immortal herbs, this one was the most suitable for them. Meng Yiren nodded. Unlike Ningrongrong, she had placed her absolute trust in Xiaoqi since her grandparents passed away. After successfully absorbing the 8-petal immortal orchid according to Xiaoqi's instructions, Meng Yiren burst into tears. The 3 people present were startled by Meng Yiren's appearance. Xiaoqi even suspected something had happened to Meng Yiren after absorbing the immortal grass. Fortunately, after some questioning, everyone learned that Meng Yiren was crying out of excitement. After absorbing the 8-petaled immortal orchid, her soul power increased by 5 levels. More importantly, the immortal grass compensated for her slow cultivation speed. Ningrongrong was completely anxious. Could these flowers and plants really have such miraculous effects? She, Ningrongrong, also wanted to absorb the immortal grass. While pistols and cannons were powerful, they were ultimately external forces. The increase in soul power was a real boost for her. So, ever flexible, she began to act coquettishly towards Xiaoqi. Brother Xiaoqi, I don't know what happened to my brain just now, it made me talk nonsense. It has nothing to do with me. I never doubted you, Xiaoqi said with amusement. Don't tell me your brain has been taken over by a virus called New Baji. Although Ningrongrong didn't understand what Xiaoqi was saying, she nodded frantically. Oh, yes, it's that New Baji virus that's taken over me. It's so abominable. Xiaoqi laughed, and so did Zhu Zhuqing. Ningrongrong was now a female version of Sakata Gintoki. Xiaoqi took out a kilo tulip and handed it to Ningrongrong. Then explained the method of absorption and the changes it would bring to her spirit. After successfully absorbing the kilo tulip, Ningrongrong didn't care how many levels she had reached. She immediately summoned her spirit, the 7 treasures glazed pagoda. After counting 3 times to make sure she was right, she suddenly pounced on Xiaoqi. Bang! Ningrongrong, having made close contact with the floor, stood up, clutching her forehead. Before she could question why the other person hadn't caught her, she heard Xiaoqi say, "You're so good, Rongrong. I gave you the magic grass, and you actually tried to lust after me right in front of Zhu Zhuqing. What are your intentions? Ning was furious. She had just wanted to express her gratitude to Xiaoqi. As for the desire for her body, well, she admitted that a little bit of it did. Xiaoqi looked at Ning and Meng Yiren and continued, the magic grass is just for you to play with. I've already thought of your future paths. One of you will be a female Gintoki, and the other a dark magical girl. Female Gintoki, dark magical girl. Ning and Meng Yiren exchanged glances, each with a hint of confusion. Xiaoqi tried hard not to laugh and said seriously, don't worry about what this is. I won't harm you anyway. Next, I will tell you about the life story of the little flat-headed man today. I guarantee it will open your eyes. Ning and Meng Yiren were dumbfounded by Yu Zhiqing's deeds, and they couldn't recover for a long time. I never imagined such a shameless person could exist in this world. What bullshit are these 10 theories? Who in any even slightly larger sect wouldn't know about that? Xiaoqi, compared to that shameless lord, you're a real good person. At least you're honestly bad. Xiaoqi agreed with the first half of Ning words, but her face darkened when she heard the second half. She roared, Ning, please get out of here gracefully. After some playful banter, Xiaoqi sent Ning and Meng Yiren back to prepare. They would go to Shrek Academy together tomorrow morning to confront Yu Zhiqing. In the afternoon, he would take Ning to the starred out Great Forest to obtain her third spirit ring. Ning had initially been puzzled as to why Zhu Zhuqing wasn't coming along, but when Xiaoqi explained that Zhu Zhuqing's situation was different, Ning understood. She was being treated differently once again. Xiaoqi must have been annoyed that she, a third whale, would interfere with their intimacy. That was it. Since you, Xiaoqi, are so heartless, don't blame me, Ning for being ungrateful. Tonight, I will knock on the wall every 10 minutes to prevent you two from doing your good deeds. Hey, I am such a clever little ghost. Ning giggled foolishly when she thought of this. Xiaoqi looked at Ning silly look and said unhappily, Ning what are you giggling about? Meng Yiren has gone back. Why are you still staying here? Go back if you want to. Ning snorted coldly. When she walked to the door, she suddenly turned around and looked at Xiaoqi and Zhu Zhuqing with a sweet smile. Xiaoqi, Zhuqing, I wish you two a good sleep tonight. Good night, you're sick. Xiaoqi was becoming more and more speechless about Ning. Sometimes he even suspected that it was because of him that the unknown side of her that was hidden in her heart was developed. Zhuqing, if there's a chance in the future, how about we let Gintoki come over and play with Ning for a few days? Zhu Zhuqing remained silent for a long time, looking at the smiling Xiaoqi. Ning was already being led further and further astray. If she were to hang out with that white-haired girl for a few days, who knew what she would become? Would she become Kagura? Or Shimura Shinpachi? Or perhaps a female version of Sakata Gintoki? Thanks to fellow reader Killin for the monthly ticket. Thanks to fellow reader 20240204162008920 for the monthly ticket. Thanks to fellow readers who liked the novel and gave tips. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 62, Oh no, Nami and Princess Vivi were captured by Blackbeard. The next morning, Xiaoqi, having slept all night, hadn't had time to settle accounts with Ning when she received an urgent call for help from Nami. She and Princess Vivi had been captured by the Blackbeard pirates, and the Mary had been stolen. After learning the full story, Xiaoqi was left in a state of confusion. Ultimately, Nami was to blame. Nami had accelerated her voyage to reach Alabasta, allowing the Straw Hat pirates to reach Drum Island several days earlier than in the original story. However, before they could get Chopper aboard, they encountered the Blackbeard pirates. Given Luffy's temperament, a fight ensued, and Nami was unable to intervene. But Luffy was no match for Blackbeard at this point. Even with all his cheating skills, he couldn't defeat him, unless he was the master of cheats, Kurosaki Ichigo. The rest of the Straw Hat pirates were equally no match for Blackbeard's men, and ultimately, the three main members of the Straw Hat pirates were utterly defeated. Nami, Usopp, Kaya, and Vivi didn't make a move. Usopp was too frightened to take action, and the latter two were powerless. Although Nami knew the railgun, she knew she couldn't defeat Blackbeard and his crew alone, and would even infuriate them completely. Fortunately, Luffy didn't have a bounty on him, and after Princess Vivi revealed her identity and offered herself as a bargaining chip for Luffy and his crew's lives, Blackbeard refrained from killing them. Otherwise, Nami would have summoned Xiaoqi, even at the cost of exposing her unique calling-out method to Blackbeard and his crew. Later, Nami, hoping to find a chance to rescue Vivi, offered to sail with the Blackbeard pirates, claiming she was familiar with the Mary and could help them. With the Blackbeard pirates now sailing the sea, Nami felt this was the perfect opportunity to rescue them, so she approached Xiaoqi. Nami refused to allow anyone else to go, as she knew Blackbeard's strength too well, and anyone else would be of little help. Xiaoqi thought Takesaki Kurumi could go, as her Kaketi ability could help. Unfortunately, Nami refused, as she still didn't fully trust her. With everything ready, Xiaoqi looked at Zhu Zhuqing and said, "Zhuqing, I'm leaving now. I'll leave this to you. Don't spoil Uzaya gang. Just give him a good smack in the face and that's it." Zhu Zhuqing reached out to straighten Xiaoqi's clothes and said, "Be careful. I'll wait for you, okay?" Xiaoqi and Zhu Zhuqing hugged each other before disappearing. Pirate World. Nami, who had found an excuse to visit the cabin, excitedly embraced Xiaoqi upon seeing her. During her time with the Blackbeard pirates, she was constantly on edge, even cautious with every move. Xiaoqi understood Nami's feelings and patted her on the back, asking, "Where's Princess Vivi?" Nami replied, "She's tied up on the deck. That Lafitte has been watching her. Besides, the Blackbeard pirates' next destination is also Alabasta." Xiaoqi felt things were getting complicated. The plot had become chaotic. He suspected that Blackbeard, knowing Vivi's identity, was planning to use her for some ulterior motive. Just then, Blackbeard's unpleasant laughter echoed from outside the cabin. "Ho ha ho ha, I didn't expect there was a little rat hiding on this ship." The next moment, the cabin door was kicked open. Xiaoqi shielded Nami behind him, his eyes fixed on the figure that appeared at the door. Only Blackbeard and Badgers. At this point, the Blackbeard pirates consisted of only 5 members. Lafitte was watching Vivi, while the sniper, Van Oka, was probably hiding somewhere, waiting for him to show up. The remaining doctor, Poison Q, was nowhere to be seen. "Thief, ha ha ha." Blackbeard laughed and looked at Xiaoqi and said, "Boy, I'm curious how you appeared here." As for this stranger's ship, Blackbeard used his observation haki to check it out as soon as he got on the ship, and then asked Badgers to search it inside and out. He was very sure that this person was not on the ship before and suddenly appeared out of thin air. Xiaoqi smiled and said, "The transparent fruit, the door fruit, the teleport fruit, the thunder fruit, which one do you think I ate?" Blackbeard's pupils shrank at the names of these devil fruits. He looked at the man and asked, "Then let me change the question. What's your purpose here?" Xiaoqi smiled again and said, "To save the woman behind me, to save the Princess of Alabasta, to join your pirate group, or simply to pass by." Guess another one, his younger brother, Buges, couldn't help but say, "Captain, I think he's playing a trick on us. I'll capture him and interrogate him." Blackbeard acquiesced to Buges' words. He also wanted to see what the man before him had up his sleeve. It would be great if he could witness his devil fruit's power. As long as the man was a devil fruit user, he was fully confident he could capture him. The dark fruit he had consumed was the nemesis of all devil fruits. Seeing that Blackbeard didn't try to stop him, Buges smiled wickedly. After flexing his wrists a few times, he suddenly rushed out. With a bang, Badgers flew back at an even faster speed. 20 million Baileys worth of garbage. Xiaoqi really looked down on Badgers. This guy had nothing but brute force and a good resistance to blows. Xiaoqi spread his hands towards Blackbeard and said, "How did such a weakling become your crew member? Are the standards for selecting crew members so low now?" Blackbeard was slightly stunned, then laughed out loud. "Interesting, I haven't seen an interesting newcomer like you in a long time." At this moment, Barges got up from the ground and roared, "I'm going to kill you." "Stop." This time, Blackbeard stopped Barges and looked at Xiaoqi and continued, "If you are here to join my pirate group, I will welcome you very much, but if you are here to cause trouble..." When Blackbeard said this, the expression on his face suddenly became gloomy, and a black smoke emerged from his body at the same time. "I will kill you with my own hands," Xiaoqi said lightly. I'm not interested in a weak pirate group. If you want me to join, you have to let me see your strength first. Besides, this girl in the Princess of Alabasta will belong to me. In addition to strong strength, I am most interested in women. Although this girl is a little lacking in all aspects, she can barely be considered a woman. Just make do with her. He knew that Blackbeard was looking to recruit powerful individuals during this period, so he decided to play along and meet Vivi first to see if there was a chance he could rescue her. Nami gritted her teeth and glared at Xiaoqi fiercely. She was certain that he meant what he said. Thief, ha 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 ha, I'll give you as many women as you want, but only if you demonstrate your strength and join my pirate crew. Blackbeard was delighted with what the man in front of him said. This was how pirates should be. The gang they had encountered on Drum Island were nothing. They called themselves pirates, yet they were doing things that were just even more ridiculous. They didn't even have a bounty, and yet they dared to claim to be the Pirate King. They were just playing house. Chapter 63, Only one of Nami and Wiwi can survive. Who do you choose? On the deck of the Mary, Xiaoqi spotted Princess Vivi, along with the rest of the Blackbeard pirates. Van Oka was standing atop the mast, gun pointed at him. Lafitte stood beside Vivi, keeping a vigilant eye on him. As for Poison Q, he lay on his horse, looking terminally ill and near death. However, the one who alarmed Xiaoqi the most was Blackbeard himself. He was truly cautious. Not only had barges restrained Nami, but he'd also been constantly watching out for him from the cabin to the deck, even using his dark fruit ability. Xiaoqi looked at Princess Vivi for a while before revealing a satisfied smile. She looked at Blackbeard and said, I want this Princess of Alabasta. Tell me what the conditions are. Ha 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 ha. Blackbeard laughed loudly. After having Lafayette and barges bring Vivi and Nami to him respectively, he said, you can only choose one of these two women. I will throw the other woman you abandoned into the sea. Xiaoqi looked at Blackbeard like an idiot, stretched out her hand, and said, give me the knife. What do you mean? Blackbeard was a little confused. I just asked you to choose one, and you asked me to hold the knife? Xiaoqi said with disdain, I now doubt whether you are a pirate. Is it necessary to go to so much trouble? Why not just chop that orange-haired woman into pieces? Nami on the opposite side showed an expression of disbelief when she heard this. I am your group member, okay? She just wanted to throw me into the sea, and you want to chop me up. I just cheated you out of 50,000 points, but you cheated me once before, so we're even now. Is there any need to hold a grudge like that? Furious, she vented all her emotions in the chat group, scolding Xiaoqi for playing with her body. Xiaoqi glanced at the chat group as if nothing had happened, then looked at Blackbeard and urged, hurry up, give me a knife, something sharp. I like the feeling of cutting through it with one stroke, you bastard. I'll never let you go even if I die. Nami was so furious right now that if that big idiot hadn't tied her up, she would have rushed over to Xiaoqi and punched her. Don't they really know each other? Although Blackbeard was a little confused by the two men, he still had some doubts in his heart. He looked at Xiaoqi and said, you have already met the Princess of Alabasta, so now let me see your abilities. Xiaoqi laughed and said, what's the point of just watching? As a captain, don't you want to try it yourself? By the way, let me see if your pirate group is worth joining. Want to fight me? Blackbeard showed a contemptuous smile and said jokingly, that depends on whether you are worthy of my personal attack. Guys, come on. As soon as he finished speaking, Van Oka on the mast pulled the trigger, and Buges and Lafayette rushed towards him at the same time. Since Xiaoqi came to the deck, he had been on guard against a bastard who liked to shoot from behind. The moment Blackbeard said the word come, he moved. Teleportation fruit. Blackbeard watched Xiaoqi appear on the mast and dispatch Van Oka instantly, and a guess entered his mind. Of the several devil fruit abilities he knew, aside from those already consumed, this one was the closest. After knocking Van Oka unconscious with a single punch, Xiaoqi reappeared on deck carrying him and tossing Van Oka in the direction of Poison Q. The old bastard's disease sickness fruit ability was incredibly disgusting. He didn't want to be turned into a woman. Going to the bathroom would be such a hassle. A bunch of trash. Blackbeard's face darkened as he watched his crewmen so vulnerable to him, and he activated his dark fruit ability. Dark water. Instantly, Xiaoqi felt a powerful pull sucking him in. Blackbeard, holding Xiaoqi in his grasp, laughed heartily. Ho ha ho ha, my devil fruit is called the dark fruit, the most powerful of all devil fruits. Your teleportation fruit is fast, But you can't use it now, boy. Join my pirate group, and I'll spare your life and give you this orange-haired woman. Otherwise, I'll chop you up like you just said." From the beginning to the end, Blackbeard hadn't considered giving Vivi up to him. She was of great use to him. Xiaoqi struggled a few times before giving up. Just when Blackbeard thought she had resigned herself to her fate, a smile suddenly crossed her lips. "Ha!" With a loud roar, Xiaoqi's inner energy erupted, freeing herself from Blackbeard's grasp. "What's going on?" Just as Blackbeard was still stunned by the loss of his dark fruit's power, Xiaoqi's fist struck him hard in the chest, sending him flying into the sea. This sudden turn of events left the other Blackbeard pirates stunned. Lafitte, the first to react, shouted, "You guys hold him back. I'll go save the captain." The next second, wings sprouted from his back, and he flew towards Blackbeard as he fell into the sea. Xiaoqi hadn't anticipated that despite their numerous crimes, these Blackbeard pirates were truly loyal to Blackbeard. Badgers, Van Oka, and Poison Q risked their lives to buy Lafitte a brief moment of time. By the time Xiaoqi dispatched all three with a single Kamehameha, Lafitte had already submerged himself in the sea. Nami then shouted, "Xiaoqi, what are you standing there for? Go after him. This is a great opportunity to kill Blackbeard. Chase him." Xiaoqi cursed inwardly. Didn't he know today was a great opportunity to kill him? Didn't he want the points? But he couldn't possibly tell Nami that he couldn't swim, that he was a landlubber. She would laugh at him to death. Ignoring Nami, who was baring her teeth at him, Xiaoqi walked over to Wee Wee and prepared to untie her ropes. However, as soon as he stretched out his hand, Wee Wee struggled desperately, roaring, "You devil, I won't let you touch me even if I die." Tui. Xiaoqi was stunned by the spit sprayed in his face, and Nami beside him was also dumbfounded, and then burst into laughter. 5 minutes later, Wee Wei, having learned the truth, wiped Xiaoqi's face while awkwardly apologizing. "I'm so sorry. I didn't know you were here to save us, and that you were Nami's friend." Nami pouted and said, "Wee Wei, you don't have to apologize to him. He might even like your saliva. He was willing to chop me off just now for you." Wee Wei's face flushed, and she looked at Xiaoqi and said, "Actually, I'm not usually like this. It was really just an accident. I haven't introduced myself yet. My name is Nefertiti Wee Wei. Nice to meet you, and thank you for saving me." Thank you to bookfriend 201810230020002520 for the monthly ticket. Thank you to bookfriend 202411161446200385 for the reward. Thank you to the book friends who like the novel and passers-by for the reward. Chapter 64, just returned to Drum Island. Luffy disappeared again. Nami, at Zhu Zhuqing, something big happened. Zhu Zhuqing, what's wrong? Sakata Gintoki, Masaka, Namichan, have your body been played with by that bastard Xiaoqi? How can I practice it? Yinsang just said that he wanted to come here. Nami, at Sakata Gintoki, I don't have time to pay attention to you now. At Zhu Zhuqing, your rival has appeared. Do you want to come and beat Xiaoqi? Sakata Gintoki, Nani? That hateful Xiaoqi actually played with Princess Vivi, which was even more excessive than playing with Nami-chan. Linglong, so in your heart, Princess Vivi is more important than Nami-chan. Sakata Gintoki, no, you are the most important girl. Linglong, haha, your mouth is invincible. Nami, you two are enough. Is it time to talk about this now? Sisters Zhuqing, as long as you agree, I can also fight for you. Kuroba Kato, I think there's a bit of personal vendetta involved. Nami, shut up. I'll send you some fish right now. Zhu Zhuqing, I trust Xiaoqi. At Xiaoqi, everything's going well here, don't worry. Xiaoqi, heart JPG. Damn it, Nami closed the chat group and gritted her teeth as she watched Xiaoqi chatting with Vivi. What had he tricked Zhu Zhuqing into trusting this man so much? Meanwhile, Xiaoqi, having learned about the situation in Alabasta from Vivi, turned to Nami and raised an eyebrow in mockery. The voyage back to Drum Island went smoothly, and Xiaoqi asked Nami about the situation. The biggest change from the original story was that the group didn't encounter Nico Robin along the way. Nami speculated that this was related to Luffy's lack of a bounty. However, Nami also said that Robin must board their ship. Not only that, all the characters who had regrets in the original work will be pulled on board this time, including Vivi. As for Vivi, she still doesn't know that Nami has a chat group. Originally, Nami wanted to wait for Chopper to join and then tell everyone about it on the way to Alabasta, but who would have thought that this would happen? After returning to Drum Island, the accident happened again. Luffy and the others disappeared. After hearing from Dalton that Luffy and the others had gone out to sea to look for them a few hours ago, Nami was almost mad to death. As for where Luffy and the others' ship came from, we have to thank Walpo who ate the swallow fruit. That unlucky guy came back here early for some reason and provoked the Straw Hat Pirates. As a result, Luffy and the others were beaten up by the angry Luffy and the others, and finally no one knew where he was beaten to. Xiaoqi could actually understand Luffy's behavior. The current situation was similar to the one in the original story when the Straw Hat Pirates were slapped away by Kuma in the Sabaody archipelago. They also watched their important companions being taken away by the enemy in front of them because of their own incompetence. However, seeing Nami cursing now, she couldn't help but complain, "You don't act like a woman at all. You deserve to be single and no one wants you." Hearing this, Wee Wee was a little surprised and said, "Huh? Aren't Mr. Xiaoqi and Nami a couple?" Xiaoqi said with disgust, "Please, she and I are totally incompatible. I can't stand her barbaric, violent and money-grubbing personality." Wee Wee covered her mouth and smiled and asked, "Then what kind of girl do you like?" Xiaoqi's mind appeared the image of Zhu Zhuqing, and she smiled, gentle, sensible, well-behaved, and big. Wee Wee understood the first three requirements, but what did the last big mean? After scolding Luffy profusely, Nami walked up to Xiaoqi and said, "Xiaoqi, why don't you fly out and look for them?" Xiaoqi was speechless and said, "Have you lost your mind? This is the Grand Line, and Luffy and the others have been gone for hours. Where am I supposed to find them? If you don't want to go, then don't go. Why are you being so aggressive?" She had just said it casually in anger. She wouldn't actually let him go. Vivi then looked at Xiaoqi and said, "Do you think it's possible that Luffy and the others went directly to Alabasta? I think Miss Kaya would think so if she can't stop them." "I think that's very likely." Xiaoqi nodded at Vivi, then looked at Nami with disdain and said, "We're both women, but how can there be such a big difference? Learn more from Princess Vivi and use your brain more." Hanami tried to calm herself down, mentally reminding herself not to get angry. She needed help from this hateful man. "Xiaoqi, things are getting complicated. Can you stay here and accompany Wee Wee and me to Alabasta? I can give you a portion of the reward after this is over." Wee Wee's eyes lit up at this, and she quickly agreed, "If you need money, I can pay you." Xiaoqi fell into deep thought. It wasn't safe for Nami and Wee Wee to be alone. Meanwhile, the storyline at Shrek Academy on Daluo continent wasn't going to have any major events for now, so Zhu Zhuqing could handle it all on her own. Xiaoqi nodded at the two women and said, "Alright, I'm pretty much stuck there anyway, so staying a few days won't hurt. As for the reward, Wee Wee's share is off the table, but I'll settle yours with you, Nami." Although she understood Xiaoqi's meaning, Nami felt annoyed. Why was she treated so differently every time? If she knew there was a girl named Ningrongrong far away on Daluo continent who had suffered the same fate as him, she felt she could form an alliance with her to oppose Xiaoqi. Wee Wee felt a little secretly happy. After all, every girl doesn't like to be pampered, especially by someone who is not only good-looking but also her savior. Xiaoqi and Nami didn't notice Wee Wee's little thoughts. They started arguing again. "Nami, I just told you to use your brain more. This is Drum Island. Don't you want such a cute chopper?" "Xiaoqi, I just forgot in a hurry. Can't you speak nicely to me? Let's not talk about others. Why are you so nice to Vivi, Princess Vivi? How can you be the same? Look at how she speaks and how you speak." Okay, I'm disturbing you too, right? Then I'll leave." Vivi became anxious when she heard this, and looked at Nami and said, "Nami, Xiaoqi didn't mean that. Don't be angry first. I'm not her girlfriend. Why should you be angry?" Nami snorted coldly, looked at Vivi and said, "Vivi, if you have any ideas about this man, I advise you to give up as soon as possible. He already has a girlfriend, and he is not from our world, let alone a normal person." Xiaoqi was immediately unhappy when she heard this and said, Hey, what do you mean I'm not a normal person? Can you speak more clearly?" Chapter 65 Kuliha, you are a good young man. Are you interested? Period. The whole Saiyan thing, the chat group thing, the world-traveling thing, was completely beyond her comprehension. But Wee Wee was more concerned with something else. With a complicated expression, She looked at Xiaoqi and asked, "So, you approached me, and everything you did to me was really all for those points?" At that moment, she felt as if all the beautiful images in her mind had shattered. The sweet romance of the Prince Charming saving the princess was nothing but a fantasy. Facing Wei Wei's gaze, Xiaoqi didn't know how to respond. After a brief silence, she decided to tell her the truth. "That was true at first, but now I truly consider you a friend. No matter what outcome you want for Alabasta, I'll help you." Vivi forced a smile. "I understand. Thank you for your honesty. Can I meet your girlfriend?" Xiaoqi said. "She's busy right now. You can meet all of us in a few days. Once we get to Alabasta, I'm looking forward to meeting them." Vivi nodded. Then, looking at Nami, she said, "Nami, I have something to tell you. Can we go somewhere else?" Xiaoqi took advantage of the moment they were chatting to tell Zhu Zhuqing what had happened and that she would be staying there temporarily. Zhu Zhuqing expressed her understanding, simply asking him to be careful and avoid arguing with Nami. She would arrange for Ningrongrong and Meng Yiren to come and keep him company as soon as possible. Xiaoqi then asked the others in the chat group if they wanted to join her, but the group of idiots ruthlessly refused, citing the fact that they didn't want to disturb their threesome. Our Jin-san really wanted to come, but when he heard he'd be on the boat for several days straight, unpleasant memories flooded back, and he ultimately passed up this golden opportunity to impress Vivi. Meanwhile, Vivi and Nami chatted for a long time. Neither woman mentioned the chat group again until they returned to Xiaoqi's side. Nami looked at Xiaoqi and said, "Now that Walpo has been dealt with by Luffy, nothing else will happen here. You go kidnap Chopper, and I'll go talk to that Kuliha. Time is running out, so we have to resort to unconventional means. We need to get out of here and head for Alabasta." Xiaoqi's mouth twitched at this. While that made sense, was it really okay to say it so bluntly? Nami looked at Xiaoqi, who was stunned, and said angrily, "Come on, take Vivi and me to the top of the mountain." Atop the mountain, Nami wished she could bite the man who was gloating over her embarrassment. That awful fellow had carried her like a chicken all the way. God knows how terrified she'd been. Even more infuriating, he'd grabbed Vivi in his arms, saying, "She's a princess, Nami, and you've been through a lot, so this little hardship is nothing." Nami, growing increasingly furious, grabbed Vivi's hand and walked back into the castle. She didn't want to talk to Xiaoqi anymore. Xiaoqi looked at the two women and shook her head. She'd actually wanted to pick Vivi up, but thinking about how she was trying to earn points and how nice she was being, she couldn't bring herself to do it. Entering the castle alone, Xiaoqi quickly spotted the adorable blue-nosed reindeer. It was incredibly good at hiding, always showing its body, making it difficult for him to miss it. Xiaoqi didn't rush to kidnap it, instead playing a game of hide-and-seek with it. "Little guy, I caught you again. You're so cute." Xiaoqi, holding Chopper in her arms once again, found him truly amusing. Who says cute animals are only for girls? Boys like them, too, right? Held high in the air, Chopper twisted his body and said with a cheerful expression, "No matter how much you praise me, I won't be happy, you bastard." At first, Chopper was a little scared of this human, but after a few encounters, he realized that this human meant no harm to him and even enjoyed playing with him, so he gradually grew bolder. And even if he tried to resist, it was useless. No matter what form he took, he couldn't defeat the other person. Xiaoqi, amused by Chopper's adorable appearance, held him in her arms and said, "Little guy, let's go out and play some fun things. I'll tell you some interesting stories." Chopper was overjoyed after flying in his bamboo dragonfly for the first time, and his relationship with Xiaoqi grew closer. But what made him even more entertained were the stories Xiaoqi told him. Tired of playing, Chopper leaned on Xiaoqi's legs and asked with a silly look on his face, "Xiaoqi, can that female human named Nami really spit fire from her mouth and then turn into a female Tyrannosaurus?" Xiaoqi nodded and said, "Of course, and she can eat people, especially cute little animals like you. If you don't join her pirate group, she will eat you if she gets angry." At this moment, Nami and Vivi walked out of the castle, looked at them and said, "I've taken care of it over there. Let's take Chopper and leave now. I've already got the things for him." Xiaoqi's face suddenly changed. She stood up and pointed at Nami opposite her and shouted, "Chopper, this woman is Nami. It's very likely that your Dr. Kuliho has been eaten by her." "Nani?" Chopper was startled when he heard this. He hid his head behind Suzuki's legs, revealing half of his body, and said tremblingly, "You bad woman, don't come over here. I'm not afraid of you at all." The veins on Nami's forehead suddenly popped up. She clenched her fists and roared, "Suzuki, are you talking bad about me behind my back again? Oh no, the enemy is about to transform. Let's retreat first." Suzuki picked up Chopper and flew into the air. "Suzuki, come down here. I'm going to give you a good beating today." Suzuki hooked her finger at Nami. "Come up." Nami's anger rose and she roared, "If you have the guts, don't come down." Chopper looked at Nami on the ground and swallowed. Really, a woman who can breathe fire is so scary. The whole scene of playing outside was seen by Kuliha in the castle. Although Nami had just told her many unknown secrets, these were not the most important things to her. The important thing was that she could see that the other party really liked Chopper. "My silly son, you have a group of good friends. Go and see to see." Suzuki finally let Chopper and her doctor, Kuliha, say goodbye properly. He didn't like the scene in the original book because it was too tear-jerking. Wouldn't it be better for the two of them to say everything clearly like now? "Young man, you are very good. Are you interested?" Kuliha was only halfway through her words when Suzuki interrupted her. "No, you are old enough to be my great-grandmother. We are not suitable. Goodbye." Suzuki grabbed Chopper and Vivi and flew away. As for Nami, he was very considerate this time and left the bamboo dragonfly with her. Kuliha looked at Suzuki's embarrassed escape and said with a smile, "Young people nowadays are so timid. I just wanted to ask him if he was interested in letting an old woman like me come on board. Look how scared he was." Nami smiled awkwardly and looked at Kuliha. "Then I'll take my leave. We'll take good care of Chopper. Please don't worry, little girl. Wait a moment. I have something else to tell you." At the same time, Wee looked at Suzuki, who suddenly frowned, and asked, "What's wrong with you?" Suzuki thought for a moment and said, "Wee, I think I forgot to tell Nami how to use the bamboo dragonfly. It shouldn't be a big deal, right?" Wee could already imagine the scene that would unfold when the two met. Thanks to book friend Jen D. Kiang for the monthly ticket. Chapter 66 King Luffy, Liu Zoro, Ma Sanji, come and play together. On the merry, Chopper bandaged Nami's hands and feet and said, "It's not a serious problem. You only need to rest for 5 days to fully recover." Chopper then scurried behind Suzuki, still a little afraid of her. Suzuki said with a guilty conscience, "Nami, I do have some responsibility for this, but it's secondary responsibility at best. Driving without a license is the primary responsibility. It's not a big deal, so why don't we just let it go?" Nami sneered. She couldn't get angry with Suzuki anymore. If anger had worked, she wouldn't be in such a state now. "Suzuki, how about I take a photo of my current appearance and send it to the group, so that everyone can judge and see who is primarily responsible?" Suzuki said anxiously. "Why bother? Everyone is very busy. It would be so embarrassing to trouble them. I think it would be better to let Wee take care of you these few days, and I will be responsible for driving the boat for you. How about it?" Wee on the side nodded and said, "Nami, I will take good care of you these few days." Nami said unhappily, "Suzuki, you have a good plan. You will take care of me these few days, otherwise I will let Sisters Zhuqing come and see what you have done here." Suzuki's face froze suddenly, and whispered, "Then you can't let me help you when you want to take a shower or go to the toilet? That's so embarrassing." Nami roared, "Of course I should let Wee help me at this time. Has your brain been infected by that white-haired guy?" Wee quickly comforted, "Nami, Chopper said you can't get excited now, you have to stay calm." Suzuki said with a look of grievance, "I'm just asking, why are you so excited?" Chopper trembled with fear, muttering, "Women are scary, and angry women are even scarier." For the next 4 days, Suzuki was mercilessly ordered around by Nami. Even when he was training, Nami's mere shout required him to appear immediately, or she would use the Zhu Zhuqing summoning technique to make her come and examine his injuries. Whenever Wee had free time, she would ask Suzuki about his situation. The world outside was so big, she wanted to see it. After Chopper learned Suzuki's background, he would pester her to tell him all sorts of funny stories every night before bed. On the 5th day, Chopper examined Nami's injuries and confirmed they had completely healed, leaving no scars. Despite this, Nami continued to order Suzuki around as she had done in the past few days. "Suzuki, I want to drink some water." I'm busy, go port yourself. Xiaoqi is too lazy to pay attention to her now. Her injury has healed and she still wants to order me around? Dream on. Nami gritted her teeth and said, I'm going to tell everyone else in the group that you hit me. I'm going to summon Sisters Zhu Zhuqing, Xiaoqi said indifferently. Hurry up, it's better to let them see the injuries on your body, so it can be more realistic. You're so cruel. Nami tore off the bandages on her body and walked into the cab cursing, damn Xiaoqi, stinky Xiaoqi, you'll die if you take care of me for a few more days, Wei on the deck said at this time. Although Nami doesn't say it, I can see that she has been really happy these days. Xiaoqi curled her lips and said, how can she not be happy? All she needs to do every day is open her mouth, and the rest is done by the two of us. Wei smiled and said to herself, it would be great if there was someone like this to take care of me when I was injured. You're a princess. If you were injured, there would be a lot of people around you. Wei smiled and shook her head, changing the subject. Will you come here again in the future? Chopper will probably be very sad when you leave. He has only been playing with you these days, and I can't even hug him when I want to. Xiaoqi said, of course I want to come. There are a lot of points here. But it depends on whether that woman Nami will let me come. After all, her personality can change at any time. What about you? Have you decided to join the Straw Hat Pirates? Vivi turned around and smiled sweetly at Xiaoqi, and said, I'll tell you on the day you leave. At this moment, Nami suddenly rushed out of the cab and shouted, Xiaoqi, a ship appeared at 45 degrees to the left. Xiaoqi was immediately refreshed after hearing this. I finally met a living person. I've been suffocating these days. I'll go over and see what's going on. However, it didn't take long for Xiaoqi to fly back, picked her up amid Nami's exclamation, and flew towards the pirate ship over there again. Nami, who was flying in the air, shouted, Xiaoqi, you bastard, can't you hold me and fight properly for once? My injury has just healed. Xiaoqi suddenly stopped in the air, hugged Nami in her arms with disgust, and said unhappily, you are a woman with so many things to do, so troublesome. Nami, who was hugged by Xiaoqi, stopped making trouble instantly, and even spoke in a soft voice, where are you taking me? You will know in a while, and please don't talk to me in this tone, be normal. Before Nami, who was broken from defense, could start cursing, Xiaoqi took her and landed on the pirate ship. Ah, I just saw a big bird flying by, and now the big bird is showing up with Nami. Am I hallucinating because I'm hungry? Nami turned around and exclaimed, Luffy. Luffy tilted his head. Ah. This person who looks a lot like Nami is talking. I think I heard Nami's voice. At this moment, Sanji appeared from nowhere, and then Zoro, Usopp, Kaya, and the little yellow duck appeared in front of Xiaoqi one by one. Except for Luffy, the other members of the Straw Hat Pirates became alert when they saw Xiaoqi next to Nami. Zoro drew his sword, Usopp took out his slingshot, and Sanji, standing on one leg, demanded, who are you? Stay away from my Nami-chan, or I'll be rude to you. Nami stepped forward and punched Sanji in the head, angrily saying, who is your Nami-chan? If you keep saying that, I'll kill you. Xiaoqi hadn't expected her first encounter with Luffy and his crew to be in this setting, but it was quite interesting nonetheless. Nami, I leave this to you. I'll go back to the Mary and tell Vivi and Chopper. Usopp watched Xiaoqi fly away and stammered, Nami, is he a devil fruit user? We'll talk about him later. First, explain to me how you all ended up in this mess. Back on the Mary, Xiaoqi told Vivi and Chopper about Luffy. Vivi was naturally delighted, but Chopper was a little nervous. Xiaoqi hugged Chopper and said, don't be nervous. These are your future companions. Show your manliness. Luffy and the others were thrilled to be back on the Mary. Luffy burst into tears. He had been blaming himself daily for Blackbeard's incident. Chopper gradually integrated into the Straw Hat crew after getting to know them. Furthermore, he discovered the cause of Kaya's illness and knew that with a little time, he could completely cure her. Xiaoqi, thank you for saving Nami, Vivi, and the Mary. Thank you for finding such a great doctor for our Straw Hats. Before dinner, Luffy and the others solemnly thanked Xiaoqi. They now considered each other their best friends. Only Sanji, watching Xiaoqi, caught between Nami and Vivi, nearly gnashed his teeth. Kekexu, why is that bastard so popular with girls? Kaya smiled and said, I think Mr. Xiaoqi is very good, and he also indirectly cured my illness. I will thank him in person when I have the chance. How come even Miss Kaya is like this? Hearing this, Sanji was immediately in tears and secretly vowed to save these girls from Suzuoki's clutches. Suzuoki was very satisfied with Sanji's cooking skills. In order to repay the Straw Hat Pirates' enthusiasm, he looked at the three main players of the Straw Hat Pirates after finishing his meal and said with a smile, "Wang Luffy, Liu Zoro, Ma Sanji, do you three want to train with me from now on?" Chapter 67 Tang-san has turned evil, Tang-san is gone. After an afternoon of training with the Straw Hat Pirates' main force, Suzuoki's assessment of their current strength was simply this: too weak. Luffy, who couldn't master second gear, Zoro, who hadn't mastered Zantetsu, and Sanji, who only had basic kicking skills, combined were no match for him. Afterward, Suzuoki explained the world's power structure and the three colors of Haki, and reminded them to train tirelessly if they didn't want the Drum Island incident to happen again. The next morning, just as Suzuoki was about to gather the Straw Hat Pirates' main force for training, he saw a message from Zhu Zhuqing, but his expression paled. After sending a message to Nami in the group chat, he returned to Dalo continent. During his absence, Uzaigang had been severely tormented by Zhu Zhuqing, Ningrongrong, and Meng Yiren. Not only did they reject his teachings, calling him a level 29 loser, but they also publicly refuted his 10 theories, which he prided himself on. This outcome directly split Shrek Academy into three factions: Zhu Zhuqing, Ningrongrong, and Meng Yiren, who opposed Uzaigang, Tang-san and Xiao Wu, who supported them, and Oscar and Ma Hongjin, who remained neutral. As for Daimyo Bei, although his physical injuries were healed by a healing spirit master hired by Flanders, the loss of only one arm and his disfigurement left him with a profound mental trauma. He began to despair and became a crippled man. While there had been numerous conflicts, both large and small, in recent days, they had been manageable until Ningrongrong's recent incident, which escalated the conflict between the three women and Tang-san into a life-or-death struggle. Uzaigang, for some reason, had insisted on pairing Meng Yiren and Ningrongrong against Tang-san and Xiao Wu. Provoked by Xiao Wu, Ningrongrong, in a fit of rage, whipped out her pistol and severely injured him, nearly transforming him into a 100,000-year spirit ring. Ningrongrong's shot instantly turned Tang-san evil, and he unleashed countless hidden weapons upon him. Fortunately, Zhu Zhuqing intervened in time to rescue Ningrongrong, and eventually, all the Shrek Academy teachers joined forces to bring the situation under control. But the situation didn't end there. Tang-san publicly swore to kill Ningrongrong, even if it meant offending the Seven Treasures Glazed Tile sect. Fearing the situation would escalate, Flanders quickly ordered Zhu Zhuqing to take Ningrongrong away. Knowing that Shrek Academy was essentially disbanded after this incident and that our storyline mission could end at any moment, Zhu Zhuqing immediately informed Suzuoki. Inside the Rose Hotel, Suzuoki was speechless as she stared at Ningrongrong standing before her. Tang-san couldn't stay in this situation. His death would likely bring the Shrek Academy storyline to a close, and he'd say goodbye to Dalo continent. While he and Zhu Zhuqing might soon meet in the pirate world, it was unclear when they would meet again. Ningrongrong lowered her head and sobbed softly. "Suzuoki, I'm sorry." Before Suzuoki returned, Zhu Zhuqing had already told Ningrongrong and Meng Yiren about Suzuoki's background. At this point, she had nothing left to hide. After learning the truth, Ningrongrong realized the extent of the damage she had caused with her last shot. She was now afraid that she would never be able to play with Suzuoki again. Oh. Suzuoki sighed heavily as she looked at Ningrongrong in front of her. "Alright, stop crying. You can't stay at Shrek Academy now. I'm going to kill Tang-san and then send the three of you to the Seven Treasures Glazed Tile sect." As for the future, Suzuoki could not continue at this point. He himself did not know if he would be able to come to Dalo continent again. Wow. Hearing this, Ningrongrong burst into tears in Zhu Zhuqing's arms. Beside her, Meng Yiren wiped her tears and looked at Suzuoki, saying, "Will I ever see you again? I haven't had time to repay you yet, who knows?" Suzuoki gave a wry smile, looking at Ningrongrong and teasing, "I planned everything, but I never thought I'd be defeated by a little girl like you. When it comes to stirring up trouble, I'd call you the best. Zhuqing, comfort those two girls. I'll go take out Tang-san and Uzaigang first, and then make a killing." Zhu Zhuqing nodded. She, too, was feeling the pain. Although she knew this day would come eventually, she had never imagined it would arrive so soon. Arriving at Shrek Academy, Suzuoki went straight to Xiao's room. He knew Tang-san would be by her side, keeping her company while she lay seriously injured. Inside Xiao's room, Tang San, unaware of the impending disaster, was being counseled by Yu Xiaogang. Xiao-san, the Seven Treasures glazed tile sect is not something you can afford to defend right now. Let's be patient for a while. It won't be too late to seek revenge once you become a titled Daluo. However, Tang San watched the unconscious Xiao Wu refuse to listen to any advice, clamoring to make Ning Rongrong pay. At that moment, Su Xiaoqi kicked the door open from outside, accompanied by her icy voice, Tang San, revenge for that rabbit will be in your next life. Yu Xiaogang, still unaware of the seriousness of the situation, approached Su Xiaoqi and said pretentiously, please leave immediately. You are not welcome here, shut up. Su Xiaoqi raised her palm and unleashed a Kigen wave, blasting Yu Xiaogang to smithereens. He was in no mood to argue with such a fool. Teacher, Tang San shouted as he watched Yu Xiaogang die tragically before him. He also raised his hands and unleashed several hidden weapons from his sleeves. What a frivolous trick! Su Xiaoqi waved her hand, snatching up all the hidden weapons and flinging them towards Tang San. Tang San, struck by his own hidden weapons, felt a sharp pain radiate through his body, the agony causing him to fall to the ground and scream. Su Xiaoqi pointed her palm at Tang San and said, Tang San, this world is not for you. Return to your own world. Tang San's pupils shrank sharply upon hearing this, and even the pain in his body was temporarily suppressed. He fixed Su Xiaoqi with a fixed gaze, asking word by word, how do you know all this? Su Xiaoqi smiled. He wasn't going to give her a kind answer, he was determined to let Tang San die with these questions. Just as he was about to strike, Flander's furious cry rang out from outside the house, stop, boom, with a massive explosion. Tang San, the future twin god king of Daluo continent and the great man who had popularized the way of death, and his teacher, Yu Xiaogang, were both utterly destroyed. Reminder, due to Tang San's death, the Shrek Academy storyline is about to end. Non-Daluo continent members participating in this mission must leave within 2 hours. Failure to do so will result in the system forcing them back and imposing penalties. Only 2 hours left. Su Xiaoqi glanced at the notification message in the chat group and lifted the unconscious Xiao Wu with one hand. She considered the 100,000-year-old rabbit a gift to Ning Fengzi. Anyone with a reasonable mind would understand the implications. Flanders, arriving a step late, saw the shredded clothing on the floor and glared at Su Xiaoqi. I really shouldn't have let you and Zhu Zhuqing into the academy. Did you also kill Zhao Wuji? Su Xiaoqi smiled and said, Dean Flanders, I'm in a hurry, so please go reunite with your good brothers. 10 minutes later, there was no one left alive in Shrek Academy. Su Xiaoqi showed no mercy, understanding that kindness to one's enemies is cruelty to oneself. When he returned to the Rose Hotel with Xiao Wu, Zhu Zhuqing felt distressed when he saw the bloodstains all over Su Xiaoqi's body. While wiping the bloodstains on her face with a towel, she asked, are they all dead? Yes, Su Xiaoqi nodded, looked at Ning Rongrong and said, this 100,000-year-old rabbit is a gift from me to your father. Besides, I don't have much time left. Let's set off for the Seven Treasures glazed tile sect now. Su Xiaoqi looked at the 3 women in front of him and a large rabbit and suddenly felt troubled. How should he take them to the Seven Treasures glazed tile sect at once? Chapter 68 Oops, I accidentally grew a tail. That day, a strange scene unfolded across Daluo continent. A man soared through the air, clutching a large bathtub. A woman sat on his back, who in turn was holding another woman. Not far from the Seven Treasures glazed tile sect's main gate, Su Xiaoqi, taking advantage of the remaining time, gave Ning Rongrong and Meng Yiren some instructions. As the clock ticked down to the final 10 minutes, Su Xiaoqi smiled at them and said, Rongrong, Yiren, I'm leaving now. I'll have Zhuqing relay any further information. Why are you all so sad? It's not like we're parting forever. Come on, smile. Ning Rongrong and Meng Yiren couldn't smile. They were only able to hold back tears because Su Xiaoqi had said she didn't want to see them cry. Zhu Zhuqing looked at the 2 women and said, hug them if you want. Today's an exception. Zhu Zhuqing agreed, so what were they waiting for? Go for it. Ning Rongrong, who occupied the left half, said, Su Xiaoqi, even if the world of Daluo continent is turned upside down, I will definitely let Zhuqing trigger the quest to get you to come again. Meng Yiren, who occupied the right half, said, me too. No matter how long it takes, I will not give up. Su Xiaoqi hugged the 2 women and said with a smile, Then I look forward to seeing you next time. Remember to take good care of yourselves. Goodbye." As soon as Zhu Zhuqing disappeared, Linglong immediately walked up to Zhu Zhuqing and said, "Zhu Zhuqing, what do you say about me taking a cannon to blow up the spirit wall now? That should trigger the quest, right?" Meng Yiren nodded and said, "Then I'll go blow up the Xiandao Palace. Rongrong and I will work together, and one of us will succeed." Zhu Zhuqing's face suddenly darkened. He looked at the two women and said unhappily, "I don't know whether the quest can be triggered, but you two will definitely be beaten to death. If you two want to see Xiaoqi again in the future, just behave yourself from now on. As for how to trigger the quest, I will slowly try." "Oh," Linglong pursed her lips and muttered softly, "You'll be able to see Xiaoqi soon, so of course there's no rush." Zhu Zhuqing sneered, "Linglong, are you itching for trouble? Don't think I can't deal with you just because Xiaoqi's not here. Everything you want is with me." Linglong instantly put on a smile and said, "Zhuqing, I was just saying that. From now on, I'll definitely listen to you. I'll do whatever you tell me to do." Meanwhile, Zhu Zhuqing, returning to his own world, took a cold shower, changed his clothes, and headed back to the pirate world. He felt something was amiss. Nami looked at the now serious Zhu Zhuqing and asked cautiously, "Are you okay?" Wei Wei, who had heard about Zhu Zhuqing and Zhu Zhuqing's situation from Nami, said, "It's not urgent here. You and Zhuqing can stay here for a few more days." Zhu Zhuqing smiled at the two women and said, "What can I do? I'm going to practice first." If he hadn't previously lent the gravity room to Luffy and the other two, he wouldn't have rushed over. Not long after, Luffy and the other two, who had been driven out of the gravity room by Zhu Zhuqing, walked towards Nami with fear on their faces. Nami asked curiously, "What's wrong with you three?" Luffy pointed towards the gravity room and shouted exaggeratedly, "Zhu Zhuqing has gone crazy. He turned the gravity up to 30 times, Zoro nodded and said, "The three of us wanted to try what 30 times was like. But we only lasted a second before we collapsed. We almost thought we were going to die." Sanji took a puff of his cigarette and said, "Is this guy under some kind of stimulation? I saw him lying in there just now," Vivi said with a look of concern. "Nami, should we tell Zhu Zhuqing?" Nami shook her head. "He didn't say anything. He probably doesn't want Zhuqing to know. Let's go over and check first." Inside the gravity room, Zhu Zhuqing now wondered if killing so many people at once had awakened the warlike and violent Saiyan inside of her. Back at Shrek Academy, he'd sensed something was amiss. Despite killing so many people, he felt no physical discomfort, and instead, his excitement grew as he went on. He'd thought it had something to do with his Saiyan blood. It had improved when he was with Zhu Zhuqing and the others, but after they parted ways, the feeling suddenly intensified, a surge of urges to release. "It's over. I can't hold it back anymore." While still conscious, Zhu Zhuqing sent a message to Nami, asking everyone to get out of the way. He then turned the gravity up to 50 times, pinning himself to the ground, immobilizing him. "I hope it doesn't cause any major chaos." When Zhu Zhuqing regained consciousness, he found himself in Nami and Wei Wei's room, a place he'd been to once before, so he remembered it. "Huh? Why can't I move? So I'm tied up like a dumpling." "That's bullshit." Zhu Zhuqing was baffled by her current situation. Her entire body ached, but her spirits remained strong. At least her earlier irritability was gone. Just as he was trying to recall what had happened, Wei Wei's excited voice reached him. "Zhu Zhuqing, you're finally awake. I'll go get Chopper." "Wait," Zhu Zhuqing stopped her, asking, "Can you tell me first? Why am I like this?" A moment later, Zhu Zhuqing learned from Wei Wei what had happened after he lost consciousness. Simply put, he'd gone berserk, but thanks to the 50 times gravity, he'd gone berserk for a moment before completely passing out. The injuries he sustained were caused by his own reckless energy blasts. Afterward, everyone struggled to get him out of the gravity room. Due to the 50 times gravity, they couldn't get in. Ultimately, Zoro had to hack the room apart, one by one, to free him. "My gravity room, my 50,000 points." Zhu Zhuqing was overcome with grief. He felt like he'd had a truly unlucky day. "Well, there's something else I need to tell you. I hope you'll be stronger after hearing this." Wei Wei blushed and whispered, "When we got you out, a tail sprouted from your butt, is that so?" He felt something throb under his butt. It was a tail. "Wait, I grew a tail. It's over, it's over. How am I going to tell Zhuqing about this? Should I ask Zoro to chop it off?" Zhu Zhuqing was torn. From the first day he received Saiyan blood, he'd wondered if he'd grow a tail. After all, in the early Dragon Ball stories, tails were supposed to grow instantly. His most vivid memory was the fight with Vegeta. One moment, Son Gohan's butt was bare, and the next, a tail suddenly sprouted. Tails have their pros and cons. The downside is that on full moon nights, he transforms into a giant ape. The biggest upside is that they're the key to transforming into Super Saiyan 4. It might have been fine if it hadn't grown before, but now that it had, he felt a bit reluctant to cut it off. Take a look at what your tail looks like first. Thinking of this, Xiaoqi used her movable right hand to pull back the quilt. No, Wei Wei, who was standing by, saw Xiaoqi's actions and wanted to speak out to stop her, but it was too late. Xiaoqi looked at Wei Wei, whose face was flushed at the moment, and opened her mouth, but didn't know what to say. Tell her to pretend you didn't see anything? This is no different from rubbing salt into a girl's wound. He really didn't know that when Chopper bandaged him, he deliberately left a gap in the front, and as a result, he was seen naked by women other than Zhu Zhuqing. The only thing he was thankful for was that Wei Wei didn't scream just now, otherwise if other people rushed in and saw this scene, he would never be able to live as a human being again. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 69, The Tale is for transformation, not for playing. Well, I'll go get Chopper to come and help you. After saying that, Vivi ran away with a shy look on her face, leaving Xiaoqi lying on the bed alone thinking about life. Not long after, Chopper came with his medical equipment, and Nami came in with him. After Chopper examined Xiaoqi with a stethoscope, he exclaimed, "The Saiyan body is really amazing. The injury heals so quickly, but to be safe, I still have to do a full body check on you." After saying that, Chopper turned his head and looked at Nami, meaning that I'm going to check, you should get out quickly. However, Nami had no intention of leaving. She looked at Chopper and said, "Why are you looking at me? If you want to check, just do it." Hearing this, Xiaoqi said angrily, "Nami, don't you understand what a full body check is? Get out of here right now." Nami was immediately dissatisfied and said, "Why should I go out? This is my room. You are still lying on my bed. If you want to go out, you too should go out. Besides, I just carried you back. I've seen that tail on your butt a long time ago. What's so strange about it?" Oh my god, Xiaoqi was numb. Wei Wei hadn't told him these things just now. So he was seen naked by Wei Wei in the front and naked by Nami in the back? Holding on to a last glimmer of hope, Xiaoqi looked at Chopper and asked, "Is everything she said true?" Chopper nodded and said, "It's true that Nami carried you back here alone. She was afraid Luffy and the others would be too rough, so she didn't let anyone else touch you." Chopper, looking at Xiaoqi's grayed out state, quickly added, "But I was the one who bandaged your wounds afterwards. No one else saw." Hey, Xiaoqi couldn't say anything but a wry smile. Everything she should and shouldn't have seen had been seen. Does it matter who bandaged it? Nami said with disdain, "Look at you, you're such a loser. I just glanced at you a few times. Hurry up and finish checking me. I have something to tell you." Xiaoqi's mind went blank as Chopper examined him completely. He couldn't remember a single word of what happened, not even a word of Chopper's instructions before he left. However, he seemed to vaguely hear Nami say something like, "It's so ugly. I don't know how Zhuqing endures it every day." Nami was furious at Xiaoqi's lifeless expression. "Xiaoqi, don't force me to pinch your tail. I know all about your Saiyan weaknesses. Your tail just grew out, so there's no way you can overcome it so quickly." However, Nami was still met with Xiaoqi's silence, and his attitude completely irritated her. With all her might, she flung back the blanket, flipped Xiaoqi over, and grabbed her tail with all her might. With his tail pinched, Xiaoqi felt completely powerless and indescribably uncomfortable. He wanted to yell, but couldn't. He could only limply say, "Nami, are you sick? Let go of my tail." Nami sneered, "You want me to let go? First, swear you'll never cheat me again and do whatever I tell you to do." Xiaoqi gritted his teeth and said, "You're dreaming. I won't give in." Nami applied pressure and said, "Okay, so tough, huh? Then let's just keep fighting and see who gives up first." Hiss, Xiaoqi gasped. The feeling was too much, and he couldn't hold on any longer. Ultimately, Xiaoqi, adhering to the principle of not taking a loss right now, agreed to whatever Nami said. He would settle this matter with Nami after his injuries healed and his tail's weakness was overcome. He could forego the points for the Alabasta plot, but he had to keep Nami to himself. Nami, Xiaoqi, who had just called out these two, was glared at by the other party and quickly changed the topic. Goddess Nami, you just said you had something to say to me, so good. Nami nodded with satisfaction, and said with a smile, I wanted to tell you before that Sister Zhuqing has looked for you several times in the group. I told her that you were practicing. As for whether you want to tell her about what happened today, you decide for yourself. Damn, why didn't you say such an important thing earlier? Do you have? Before the last word Sick was uttered, Xiaoqi saw Nami had put her hand into his quilt, so he smiled quickly. Actually, it's not too late. Can I ask you for a favor later, beautiful goddess Nami? Nami showed a sly smile. I can help, you know, Xiaoqi said expressionlessly. You are the most beautiful in the world of pirates. Other women should line up. When they are in danger, they will save you first. Princess Vivi should stand aside. Nami laughed happily. She was in a very good mood at the moment, and naturally agreed to Xiaoqi's request. Childish, Xiaoqi silently added, watching Nami's expression. He'd soon show her how deceitful a man's words could be. Not long after, Zhu Zhuqing, upon hearing the news that Xiaoqi had grown a tail, arrived in the pirate world. Nami relayed Xiaoqi's story to her and then left. Zhu Zhuqing, seeing Xiaoqi wrapped up like a dumpling, felt a little angry. She wanted to say something, but finally sighed and said, if you don't want me to be a widow early in the future, just be a little more restrained. Xiaoqi winked playfully at her and teased, then let's find a time to get the certificate. But it doesn't seem possible at your age, Zhu Zhuqing chuckled. Why, you're the only one in your world and you're still bothered by this? If you want, I can take care of the baby for you next year. You can have a baby now? Are people in Dalo continent so exaggerated? Xiaoqi was no wonder he was surprised. In his old world, this kind of thing would have been considered a minor offense, like being dragged off to eat peanuts. Stop talking nonsense. Let me see your tail, Zhu Zhuqing said, unconcernedly pulling back the blanket from Xiaoqi. They'd seen everything except that last step, so there was no need to be shy. Besides, Zhu Zhuqing's spirit was that of a cat, and she had a special fondness for tails, otherwise, she wouldn't be wearing a fake one every day. That's fun. Zhu Zhuqing's eyes lit up at the sight of Xiaoqi's twitching tail, and her hand couldn't help but touch it. Don't stroke it. Another wave of weakness washed over her, and Xiaoqi, slumped in bed, now felt that her tail might become a toy for these people. After playing with it for a while, Zhu Zhuqing looked at Xiaoqi and said, have you decided to keep this tail? I think it's pretty good. Just watch out for full moon nights. Xiaoqi rolled her eyes and said, I see you want to keep it for you to play with, but I do plan to keep it. He had also figured it out. Now that the tail had grown, he should keep it. Maybe one day it could transform into Super Saiyan 4, known as the King of Force. However, he had barely finished speaking when Zhu Zhuqing's hands began to move again. In her words, you've always played with my fake tail, now it's my turn to play with your real one. Zhuqing, can you please stop stroking it? It'll become bald if you keep stroking it. Just then, Zhu Zhuqing looked at Xiaoqi seriously and said, Xiaoqi, I remembered something very important. What? Xiaoqi was also confused by the serious expression on his face. Could it be more bad news? Zhu Zhuqing smiled and said, do you prefer pants with holes or zippers in the future? I think holes are better. Zippers tend to trap air. Xiaoqi, I'm tired. Let's destroy it. I can't stay on this planet anymore. Thanks to fellow book friend Saiyan for the monthly ticket. Thanks to fellow book friends Hakazi for the monthly ticket. Thanks to fellow book friends who like the novel and passersby for the tips. Chapter 70 Sakata Gintoki. Do you know what the protagonist's value is? Hint. Group member Xiaoqi successfully changed the plot, earning 180,000 points. At midnight, with the appearance of this notification, the chat group erupted in excitement, with Nami even rushing directly in front of Xiaoqi. Linglong, when I saw this notification, I suddenly felt the urge to kill Zhang Chulin, Kuroba Kato. What a coincidence. I was also considering going after Edogal Conan, Sakata Gintoki, at Xiaoqi. Big brother, look here. Jin-san can give you a year's worth of fun for just 99,999 points. Sakuragi Hanamichi, at Sakata Gintoki, you're not allowed to take my place. I'm Big Brother's #1 underling, and you're just #2. Sakata Gintoki, you want me to be #2, Jin-san? Do you even know what #2 means, you red-haired monkey? Sakuragi Hanamichi, what are you talking about, you white-haired, dead-eyed bastard? Sakata Gintoki, go away, go play with your ball. It's adult time now. Takisaki Kurumi, oh, don't you find it strange? Normally, our Nami-san should be the first to show up at this time, but she's completely silent. Plus, the two of them are together. Do you think it's possible? Sakata Gintoki, at Sakata Gintoki, at Zhu Zhuqing, Zhuqing's sister, your house has been robbed. Come out quickly, Zhu Zhuqing, the three of us are together. Sakata Gintoki, what? 3 people? Have you fallen this low, huh? Aren't you afraid that kids will see these and report our chat group, Linglong? If they have to report, they'll report you. Sakata Gintoki, at Linglong, Linglong's sister, Jin-san only has you now. You must stick to your bottom line, Linglong. What's the bottom line? Is having points important? Isn't that what you always say? So, at Xiaoqi, want to date, Sakata Gintoki, okay, you guys are trying to piss off Jin-san, right? At Takisaki Kurumi, Sansan, Jin-san knows you're not that kind of person. Takisaki Kurumi, excuse me, I belong to Xiaoqi now, both mentally and physically. Sakata Gintoki, you bastards, aren't you afraid that I'll quit the group if you treat Jin-san like this? Without Jin-san, will you still be so happy every day? Linglong, that makes sense. How about you give us some more time to play, Nami? At Sakata Gintoki, stop arguing, what are you arguing about? If you want to quit the group, hurry up. The 3 of us are busy now and don't have time to pay attention to you. Sakata Gintoki, hey, it's a demon spirit. Jin-san wants to report someone here for gathering and causing trouble. Linglong, Nami, what are you busy with? Nami, you'll know when you come over in a couple of days. There's a surprise. I promise you'll have fun. Linglong, okay. Sakata Gintoki, Jin-san is coming tomorrow, and he can't wait any longer. Nami, whatever you want, but if you vomit all over the floor like last time, I'll kick you off the boat. Sakata Gintoki, how can that be fixed? Meanwhile, after Xiaoqi transferred points to Zhu Zhuqing, she said, Zhuqing, let's start the lottery. For a while, the chat room was dominated by Zhu Zhuqing alone. At first, the other members would check on the items their friends had won, but as the screens scrolled by, they grew numb. Zhu Zhuqing was equally numb. After drawing 100,000 points straight, she was exhausted and decided to save the remaining points. It took Xiaoqi and Zhu Zhuqing nearly an hour to count the items they had won. Xiaoqi was delighted to have his gravity room back. Besides the gravity room, there were plenty of other goodies as well. He still hadn't gotten the time travel card he'd been hoping for, but overall, the 100,000 points were well spent. After absorbing her 100,000-year 4th spirit ring, Zhu Zhuqing returned to Daolo continent. There were no extra beds for her, and she felt embarrassed to share her bed with Xiaoqi in front of others. Xiaoqi, I'm in a good mood today, so I'll let you sleep in my bed for one night. But don't think anything bad of me or we wait tonight, I never thought a damn thing. Xiaoqi watched Nami's cheerful expression with a vengeance. This woman had just coaxed Zhu Zhuqing into a state of shock, and in the end, she had bought several ninjutsu from her at a low price. After a night's rest, Xiaoqi was free to move around the next day. However, he hadn't yet adjusted to his extra tail, and many things had to be relearned. During this time, he also had to be constantly on guard against attacks from the Straw Hat Pirates. He absolutely wouldn't let them play with his tail. 4 days later, they finally arrived at Rapeseed Town, the port town of the Alabasta Kingdom. The reason for landing here was simple. Xiaoqi wanted to try his luck and see if he could encounter Ace or Smoker. He wanted to see if the Dragon Ball's chi could counter the natural abilities of the pirate world. But before everyone landed, there was something more important. Nami looked at the Straw Hat Pirates and said with a smile, "Everyone, are you ready? My friends are coming next." As she finished her words, Zhu Zhuqing, Linglong, and Sakata Gintoki appeared before them. Oh, this is fun. Luffy was still Luffy, with no other thoughts except for the fun. Wow, such cute girls. Sanji's eyes lit up at the sight of Zhu Zhuqing and Linglong, the two big beauties. However, before Nami could even begin to introduce the people around her, Gintoki got started. Nami-chan, Linglong, Jin-san, I have been thinking about you every day since we parted last time. Kaya-chan, Jin-san's biggest regret last time was that I didn't get to see you. Are you healed? Do you need Jin-san to treat you? Vivi-chan, you look so beautiful in real life. Can you write an autograph for Jin-san? Just right, Vivi, who loves Jin-san the most. Takuking, have you grown up again recently? Damn, Xiaoqi got such a bad taste in her mouth. Sakata Gintoki's series of bold moves not only made the Straw Hat Pirates over there confused, but even the people in the chat group here twitched their lips. Bang 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 bang, the angry Nami directly hit the opponent's head with a series of punches, roaring, "You dead white-haired man, don't embarrass yourself in front of my crew." Sanji did not forget to go up and kick him a few times, cursing, "You hateful white-haired man, stay away from these lovely ladies." Sakata Gintoki stood up from the ground, looked at Sanji and roared, "Nami-chan hit me, it's okay, but why'd you, the man with curly eyebrows, hit me? Believe it or not, Jin-san kicked your balls." "What did you say?" Sanji was angry, looking at the other party and said, "What qualifications do you have to say anything about me with your dead fish eyes?" Sakata Gintoki did not give in and said, "Just because I am the protagonist, Jin-san, and you are just an insignificant supporting role, do you know what the value of the protagonist is?" At this moment, Nami punched each of the two people on the head, and said unhappily, "Both of you shut up. Why did I have to deal with you two idiot group members and crew members?" Elsewhere, Wei, looking at Zhu Zhuqing's torrid figure, now had some understanding of what Xiaoqi had said about Big earlier. She was completely defeated in that regard. It doesn't matter. She looks like she's in her 20s. I'm still growing, and I'll catch up in a few years. Wei, who had just been silently encouraging herself, was immediately filled with doubts about her life after hearing Linglong's words. "Sister Zhuqing, I'm getting more and more jealous of you. You said you looked like this at 12. I wonder what you'll look like when you're my age." 10, 12, Wei's face was as strange as it could be. Was this the figure a 12-year-old should have? Would that mean I've lived these past 16 years in vain? Chapter 71, The Honest Man Smoker Meets the Evil-Smelling Xiaoqi. "Xiaoqi, can you let me play with it?" "No, let me touch your tail." Hearing Linglong's words, Xiaoqi quickly wrapped the tail around his waist. Although he had been practicing for the past few days, he hadn't completely overcome this weakness so quickly. Just then, Usopp yelled, "Oh no! Luffy's running away." Nami watched Luffy's running back and exclaimed, "I'm so pissed." That idiot got away in a moment of carelessness. Growing increasingly furious, she punched Sakata Gintoki and Sanji in front of her. "It's all your fault, you two idiots." Xiaoqi looked at the others and said, "Let's go too." "Leave those three idiots alone." "Xiaoqi, who are you calling the idiot?" Nami was completely furious. Ever since his injury healed, this guy had treated her completely differently, with as much malice as could be expected. Even more infuriating was the fact that she had no way to deal with him. She now hated herself for not leaving herself a better option that day. She was so young. Sanji, who had gotten up from the ground, looked at Xiaoqi's back, lit a cigarette and said calmly, "White hair, I don't think now is the time for us two to fight each other." Sakata Gintoki pinched his nose and said, I think so too. Our biggest enemy now is that evil Saiyan." On the other side, Zoro walked up to Xiaoqi and asked, "Didn't you say there were a few more people? Aren't they coming?" Xiaoqi smiled and said, "The remaining few will come in 2 days. Sakuragi Hanamichi and Kurobe Kato said that it was too dangerous here. They didn't want to lose their lives here. They would just come here to get some points before the plot was over." As for Takesaki Kurumi, she really wanted to come, but Nami was worried that she would eat up the entire population of Alabasta as food after she came, so she had not agreed yet. "Is that so?" Zoro nodded. Glancing behind him, where Gintoki Sakata was now rubbing shoulders with Sanji, he asked, "Is that white-haired swordsman really as strong as you say?" Xiaoqi smiled, "You'll know whether he's strong or not after you spar with him. The world of the universe is vast. Even Hawkeye, the world's greatest swordsman, would rank second to him. So, work hard." Zoro smiled at this. "Really? I'm really looking forward to fighting these guys then." Finding Luffy was easy. Besides the restaurant, He'd always be there wherever there was a commotion. When they arrived in town, before they'd even bothered to look for him, they saw Luffy being chased by his old rival, Smoker. Unlike the original story, however, the current feud between Smoker and Luffy was purely personal, so aside from him and Tashigi, no other Marines were present. Since Luffy had no bounty, Smoker had no intention of capturing him when they encountered him in Rogue Town, East China Sea. However, Luffy, a natural troublemaker, claimed to be from the Straw Hat Pirates upon seeing him, and shouted his iconic line, "I want to be the Pirate King's man." Smoker's fiery temper naturally took no to this provocation. Furthermore, Smoker, sensing a certain quality in Luffy and predicting a future danger, began their love-hate relationship all over again. Nami, watching this, clutched her forehead and said, "It's still the same." Suzuki smiled, "That's good. I'm going to stretch my legs, and you guys can go explore the neighborhood and buy some supplies." Damn it. He's getting all the attention again. Behind him, Sanji gritted his teeth. Despite days of training, he still hadn't mastered armament haki, making him ill-equipped to handle a natural-type devil fruit user. Sakata Gintoki whispered, "Curly eyebrows, are you stupid? Now that guy's gone, it's our chance. No one can move here except Sister Takakanayo. We will take care of the two of them later." Sanji nodded and smiled, "That makes sense. You are worthy of being like that, white hair." Zoro on the side looked at the two of them and said with disgust, "Two idiots." Sanji, "Who are you saying is an idiot, you green-haired guy?" Sakata Gintoki, No, it should be the green-haired guy who has no direction." Zoro, "Do you two bastards want to fight?" Sanji, "White hair, I'll kick him in the right testicle." Sakata Gintoki, "Okay, then Jin-san, I'll chop his left testicle." At the same time, Suzuki, who caught up with Luffy, did not rush to fight Smoker, but first knocked Tashigi unconscious and captured her. This time he must make Nami wanted by the Navy, and he must also portray her as a vicious pirate. "Listen, Marines in front, you have been surrounded by our Yorozuya pirates. If you don't want to die, get out of here quickly." Luffy and Smoker, who were running on the ground, stopped at the same time and looked up at the sky above. Luffy was very excited when he saw Suzuki appear, and shouted, "Suzuki, are you here to save me?" When Smoker saw Tashigi in the other's hand, his pupils suddenly dilated and he shouted angrily, "Boy, let go of Tashigi." Suzuki ignored Smoker's shouting, looked at Luffy and said, "Luffy, Captain Nami asked you to find her. She has prepared your favorite meat for you, Captain Nami." Although Luffy was confused by what Suzuki said, he quickly put the matter behind him when he heard that there was meat to eat, and laughed, "I'll leave this smoke man to you. I'll keep your share for you." Although Smoker wanted to chase Luffy, but now that Tashigi was in his hands, he could only let him go. He looked at Suzuki and said, "Who are you? What is your relationship with that boy?" Suzuki smiled and said, "I'm a thug hired by the Yorozuya pirates. My current boss, Nami, is an ally of the Straw Hat Pirates, Yorozuya pirates." Smoker knew this pirate group. They were the suspected killers of Colonel Mouse of the 16th branch of the East Sea Navy. He hadn't expected to encounter them here. "You killed Colonel Mouse of the East Sea? What's your purpose here? What's the deal?" "I've just been hired by my boss. Our goal is to kidnap Princess Vivi. My boss offered me a whopping 300 million berries." Suzuki answered Smoker's questions with complete clarity. Smoker continued, "Who else is in your Yorozuya pirates?" Suzuki said impatiently, "Why are you asking so much? I won't tell you about the vice captain, Sakata Gintoki-sama, with his white hair, dead eyes, and the wooden sword with the words Toy Echo hanging from his waist." Smoker's mouth twitched. "You're just about to show me his photo." Suzuki chuckled at Smoker's bewildered expression and continued, "My boss, Nami, says she loves tormenting female Marines, so I'm taking this girl back with me. If you know what's good for you, get out of my way, or I'll be rude to you, then I'll see if you have what it takes." As Smoker finished speaking, his lower body disintegrated into a puff of smoke and flew towards Suzuki in the air. During their fight, Suzuki used Smoker as a guinea pig, experimenting with various techniques. Ultimately, even the chi and ki blasts from Dragon Ball could injure this natural-type devil fruit user. Suzuki deliberately created a 50-50 situation for his opponent, but Smoker's physical skills were so poor right now that it was difficult for him to reveal a flaw and give his prepared items to the opponent. After a long stalemate, Suzuki finally found an opportunity to accidentally drop Nami's photo on the ground. After the other party picked it up, she pretended to be scared and shouted, "I advise you to return my boss's photo to me. Anyone who sees her true face will die miserably in the end. Don't look at her harmless appearance. She is a vicious pirate." Thanks to Book Friend, AD for the monthly ticket. Chapter 72 Zoro, Dashigi is Kina's long-lost sister. Bang! An enraged smoker punched a massive hole in the ground. Ultimately, he hadn't been able to rescue Dashigi, letting that bastard escape. What infuriated him most was that he still had no idea what devil fruit ability Dashigi had used. Smoker gritted his teeth as he stared at the photo of Nami. He certainly didn't believe Suzuki's words, but Nami, Sakata Gintoki, and the Urazuaya pirates, if this is true, I will not let you go. Meanwhile, when Suzuki appeared in front of the others, carrying the unconscious Dashigi, everyone was stunned, especially the adorable Sanji and Sakata Gintoki. Sakata Gintoki roared, "You evil Saiyan, what did you do to the lovely sister Dashigi? Did you do this to her first and then that to her?" Sanji beside him followed closely and said, "Are you doing this to Sister Takakinayo? The two of us will fight against you on behalf of all women. You two be quiet." Bang bang. After dealing with the two funny guys with 2 punches, Nami looked at Suzuki and said, "Tell me, what do you want to do by capturing her?" Suzuki wanted to laugh when he saw Nami, but he also knew that Smoker would not believe his words so easily. But so what? What was just the beginning, the best is yet to come. Suzuki placed Dashigi in front of Zoro and looked at him. "Zoro, don't you think she looks like your childhood sweetheart, Kina? I can tell you responsibly that Dashigi is Kina's long-lost sister. I captured her so that you can take care of her." Zoro's eyes widened at this. He didn't want to believe such nonsense, but the fact that such a miraculous thing as traveling through time and space had happened before his eyes made it seem possible. Zhu Zhuqing, watching her boyfriend speak so seriously, knew that this villain was definitely up to something. As for the others, the Straw Hat Pirates who hadn't seen One Piece were more credible to Suzuki, but the few in the chat group who had seen it didn't believe it at all. Unless they were watching a different One Piece than Suzuki, but that was impossible. Suzuki knew that just saying that wouldn't convince her, so she looked at Linglong and Nami and said, "The One Piece anime you're watching is still being serialized, but the One Piece manga I read before has already concluded. This news was only announced near the end. Do you think there could be 2 people in this world who look exactly the same and share a love of kendo? There's only one truth. They're twin sisters." Suzuki's well-reasoned and convincing manner actually managed to fool Nami and Linglong. Even if you called him nonsense, he did have a point. Just then, Dashigi, who had been unconscious, awoke, only to be knocked unconscious by Suzuki's slashing hand. His behavior made the others chuckle. This guy truly had no sympathy for women. Suzuki looked at Zoro and explained, "She can't hear these words for the time being, otherwise, if this girl goes to find the truth now, it would be no different from committing suicide. I won't say much else. You decide for yourself. Do you want to take her with you on the voyage to find the truth, including Kina's share?" Suzuki's last words touched Zoro's heart. After a long silence, he looked at Luffy and said, "Luffy, I want to take her with me, is that okay?" Luffy smiled and said, "Of course, nice." Suzuki was delighted and looked at Zoro and said, "But I have to remind you first, when I captured her, I had already offended that Smoke Man. He will definitely try his best to take Dashigi back from you later. With his strength, he can't protect Dashigi, and now because of us, the original historical line is likely to change. If you don't want anything to happen to Dashigi, you must be prepared to protect her to the death." Zoro nodded heavily. "I won't let tragedy happen a second time, but how should I tell this Dashigi?" Suzuki smiled and said, "This is not difficult. You can just coax her into submission with her confused personality. If that doesn't work, just make her sleep over it. Anyway, you like Kina, and they are both the same." Zoro's face suddenly turned red, and he said loudly, "Don't talk nonsense here. There is nothing between Kina and me." Suzuki patted Zoro's shoulder and smiled, "We are all men, I understand." Sanji looked at Sakata Gintoki and whispered, "White hair, what do you think about this?" Sakata Gintoki thought for a while and said, "Based on Jin-san's understanding of him, I think he is probably talking nonsense, but I have no evidence. But anyway, you have another girl on your ship. Isn't that good?" Sanji nodded and said, "Yeah, it just gives that green algae head a bargain." After seeing that Dashigi's matter was settled, Xiaoqi looked at everyone and said, I won't act with you from now on. Zhuqing, Wei and I will go to other places to have a look. If you have anything, please contact us in the group. Huh? The first one to be surprised was Wei. She didn't expect that Xiaoqi would choose her alone. Could it be that he actually had a good impression of her? But Nami was not happy. She walked up to Xiaoqi and asked, why do we have to act separately? What if we meet Crocodile? Who will protect me? Xiaoqi rolled her eyes at her. Do you still need someone to protect you now? Your railgun plus those water-style ninjutsu can hold down Crocodile, and if I'm here, how will Luffy and the others upgrade? I can't do everything by myself. Xiaoqi is right, Luffy shouted at this time, and his expression became serious. We can't rely on Xiaoqi for everything. I will beat Crocodile to death, Zoro also said at this time. I also want to see how much I have improved through training in the past few days. Leave MR1 to me. Sanji looked at Zhu Zhuqing and said, Sister Zhuqing, you have to keep an eye on him. Don't let him attack Vivi-chan. That. Usopp looked at Xiaoqi weakly and said, can Kaya and I follow you? Xiaoqi looked at Usopp earnestly and said, Usopp, you are destined to be a brave warrior on the sea. I believe you can protect Kaya. I understand. Usopp nodded. Chopper jumped onto Xiaoqi's shoulders and said, I want to go play with you. Okay. Xiaoqi looked at Kaya and said, Kaya, can you do it alone? Kaya nodded. Chopper has taught me a lot. This will be training for me. Xiaoqi smiled and looked at the others. Then we'll meet up in the kingdom's capital. Zhu Zhuqing nodded with the others and took to the air. This was the flying ability she had gained from absorbing the 10,000-year soul bone she had drawn earlier. Her soul power level had reached 50, and she was only one soul ring away from becoming the youngest soul king in the history of Daluo continent. After Wei exchanged a few words with her little yellow duck, she donned her bamboo dragonfly and flew into the air, looking at the others and saying, everyone. We'll see you then. Xiaoqi, carrying Chopper, flew into the air, looked at Nami and smiled, saying, Nami, you look so cute today. Remember to take care of yourself. Nami yelled at her, even if you praise me now, I won't be happy, you bastard who abandoned me. Sakata Gintoki looked at Xiaoqi, pinching his chin and muttering, Jin-sen, I always feel like something's wrong. How could this guy be so kind? It's so suspicious. Linglong, thoughtful, glanced at Nami. She felt that if nothing unexpected happened, something bad would happen to Nami next. After all, the grudge between these two was now common knowledge in the chat group. Xiaoqi must have some ulterior motive. Chapter 73 When Smoker meets Nami, the fun begins. Ha ha ha, Xiaoqi, soaring through the air, was laughing so hard he couldn't stop laughing. He was eagerly anticipating what would happen after Smoker and the gang met up. Zhu Zhuqing, observing her boyfriend's gloating expression, asked curiously, tell me about all the bad things you've done lately, and what about that Tashiji, huh? Vivi and Chopper were startled. Could there be more to the story? Xiaoqi smiled, no hurry. I'll tell you all about it once we get to the next city. In a hotel in Narahara, Alabasta, Wei and Chopper's faces lit up after hearing Xiaoqi's story. Zhu Zhuqing pinched him, just how deep is your grudge against Nami? Is it that serious? Of course. I won't be able to let this go until I punish her. Xiaoqi's rage boiled over at the memory of that night. It was the darkest part of his life. Wei, this plan is only halfway done. I need your help for the second half. Will you help me? Facing Xiaoqi's gaze, Wei struggled to say no, but Nami was also her good sister, so she had to fight for it. So what should I do next? Nami, you and Xiaoqi have a chat group so you can see each other often, but I'm different. So please allow me a moment to think for myself. Having successfully convinced herself mentally, Wei began to listen carefully to Xiaoqi's next plan. 10 minutes later, Wei, Zhu Zhuqing, and Chopper all gaped with their mouths wide open. They hadn't expected Xiaoqi to go so far in tricking Nami. It was too bad. Is it too late for me to back out now? Wei panicked. If Nami knew her role in Xiaoqi's plan, they would probably fall out right there and then. Wei, I know what you're worried about. Don't worry, if Nami investigates this, I'll be responsible for you. Plus, it's much more fun than playing undercover at Baroque Works. Wei looked at Xiaoqi and said, will you really be responsible for me? Of course. Xiaoqi nodded seriously. Wei blushed, lowering her head and whispering, then I'll do whatever you say. Zhu Zhuqing, watching from the sidelines, was speechless. You two aren't talking on the same wavelength right now. She'd noticed Wei occasionally glancing at her. Initially, she'd been a little puzzled, but now she understood. The princess seemed interested in her man. Zhu Zhuqing wouldn't force her on Xiaoqi about whether she'd look for other women in the future. She knew her limits. Otherwise, he could have taken Ning Rongrong and Meng Yiren back in Dalo continent. They'd both been so obvious, anyone with eyes wide open could see it. Having finally let go of her burdens, Wei offered some suggestions for Xiaoqi's plan. Since they were going to have fun, they might as well let it go. Xiaoqi would be responsible for her after all. Xiaoqi was impressed. A trainee who had been undercover at Baroque Works for 2.5 years, she was indeed quite capable. Zhu Zhuqing watched the two chat with increasing enthusiasm and sighed silently. This princess was probably on the verge of being completely led astray. Chopper, listening nearby, shuddered, imagining Nami's subsequent rage. Meanwhile, Nami and the others were also bustling with activity. Tashiji woke up shortly after Xiaoqi left. To prevent her from escaping, Nami, with Zoro's consent, had her tied up. It was up to Zoro to convince her otherwise. If reasoning didn't work, then he'd just sleep with her as Xiaoqi suggested. After their mutual enemy, Xiaoqi, left, Sakata Gintoki and Sanji's alliance collapsed, each eager to impress the girls. They began bickering once more. A seething Nami occasionally punched them, venting her frustration on the two unfortunate individuals. Linglong and Kaya chatted throughout the journey, while Luffy and Usopp searched for Ace, the Fire Fist. However, instead of calling out Ace, they lured Smoker over. The moment Smoker saw Nami, the scene Xiaoqi had been waiting for unfolded. This time, Smoker ignored Luffy, his gaze fixed on Nami and the white-haired, dead-eyed man with the wooden sword from Lake Toya slung at his waist. The Straw Hat Pirates and the Urazuaya Pirates seemed very close. Are they really in alliance? Feeling a little uncomfortable being stared at by the other party, Sakata Gintoki cursed, "Smoker, why are you staring at Jin-san? Jin-san is not interested in greasy uncles like you." Smoker ignored the other party's observation and said lightly, "Are you Sakata Gintoki from the Urazuaya?" Sakata Gintoki was stunned and said, "Yes, if you want Jin-san's autograph, Jin-san will not give it to you." Smoker looked at Nami and said, "Then you are Nami." Nami frowned. She thought the other party's question was a little strange, so she didn't answer him. Smoker continued, "Did you kill Colonel Rat from the East Sea?" "So that's what happened." Nami cursed Xiaoqi again in her mind before speaking, "I don't know that rat or rat you're talking about." Smoker took a drag on his cigar. "Release Tashiji. You two, come back to Marine Headquarters with me for investigation, or I'll arrest everyone here." "Arrest me," Nami sneered. "I'm in a bad mood today. I advise you not to mess with me." Sakata Gintoki stepped forward and said, "Nami-chan, let Jin-san teach him a lesson." However, Nami met Jin-san's gaze with another iron fist. "Do you know armament haki? Can you hide him? You have a bad temper. You even attack your own people when you disagree with them." Smoker silently labeled Nami with another label. "In that case, I'll capture you myself. I won't show mercy just because you're a woman." Smoker's attack was the same old one, his body transforming into smoke and flying towards Nami. Nami reached out to stop the men who were about to attack. "Don't move, all of you. I'm going to take my anger out on this guy." Watching Smoker approaching, Nami formed 3 simple seals with her hands and shouted, "Water style, water dragon bullet." "Oh no. This woman is the user of the water fruit." Smoker was startled by the rapidly approaching water dragon, but at such close range, he had no time to dodge and was struck hard. "That's it," Nami sneered at the soaking wet Smoker lying on the ground. Slowly, she took out a coin and, with Misaka Mikado's signature move, flicked it away. "So strong, so scary, I can't mess with you. Nami-chan is the best." These were the different feelings everyone present had towards Nami at the moment. Just when they thought the matter was over with Smoker's fainting, Nami walked up to him, clenched her fist, and said, "I told you to choose Vivi. I told you to abandon me, Xiaoqi, you bastard." Seeing her leader beaten into Pig's head, Tashiji forcibly broke free from Zoro's hand, covering her mouth, and cried, "Please stop hitting me. I'm willing to join you if you only let Commander Smoker go." Hearing this, Nami stopped what she was doing, turned around, looked at everyone, and smiled sweetly. "Everyone, did you see anything just now?" "No, we didn't see anything," Everyone present shook their heads frantically and answered in unison. Thanks to book friend 666,666,666 for the monthly ticket. The special font in the name can't be printed here, sorry. Chapter 74. What the hell is Gakal Shiri? SHHH. That hurts. Smoker, waking from his coma, touched his face. He seemed to have just had a dream in which a woman had beaten him up. Just then, a kind little girl approached him and asked, "Marine brother, do you want to see a doctor?" Just as Smoker was confused, the girl took out a mirror and handed it to him. "Marine brother, take a look for yourself." Smoker took the mirror and pointed it at himself. Who is this pig-headed person? At that moment, Smoker was overwhelmed with unprecedented anger and shame. Xiaoqi's words to him flashed back to his mind. Don't be fooled by her harmless appearance. She's a vicious pirate, Nami of the Yorizuaya pirates. I won't let you go. Thinking of this, Smoker endured the pain and walked towards the naval base. He would report the Yorizuaya pirates' situation to the Navy headquarters so that they would issue a formal bounty. Meanwhile, Nami, the instigator of this incident, was mentoring Tashigi, the newcomer. Since you've joined us, you must completely sever all ties with the Navy, and don't even think about running away. I hate being abandoned, understand? Tashigi could only nod obediently, the scene just now still vivid in her mind. Nami nodded in satisfaction, smiling. Don't worry, I'm easy to talk to. Since you're Zoro's childhood sweetheart, let him take care of you from now on. Tashigi wanted to deny it, but she didn't dare. She glanced at Zoro and nodded again. In comparison, the green-haired man was much easier to talk to. Linglong's eyes rolled as she watched Nami before her. What had just happened confirmed her previous suspicions, so she opened the chat group and found Xiaoqi. Private chat. Linglong, are you trying to trick Nami again? Private chat. Xiaoqi, what do you mean by tricking Nami? I don't understand what you're talking about. Private chat. Linglong, we just ran into Smoker. Guess who he's messing with this time? Private chat. Xiaoqi, how should I know? If nothing else, I'll go do my thing. Private chat. Linglong, so, go ahead. I'll go talk to Nami and share some of my suspicions with her. Private chat. Xiaoqi, tell me, what do you want? Private chat. Linglong, tell me your plan. If it's fun, take me along. Private chat. Xiaoqi, isn't Nami your best friend? Are you doing her justice by doing this? Private chat. Linglong, then I'll go tell her. Private chat. Xiaoqi, you won. I can tell you, but you have to swear not to tell Nami, or I won't help you win first place in the Luotian Gageo. Private chat. Linglong, okay, hurry up. I'm dying of curiosity. Nami and her group searched Rapeseed Town but couldn't find Ace. After discussing it, they decided to stay and wait for another day. If Ace still didn't show up, they would move on to their next destination, Rainy Land. Elsewhere, Xiaoqi told Zhu Zhuqing and Wei that Linglong would be joining them. The two women were surprised but worried for Nami, hoping she wouldn't break down. 2 days later, Linglong arrived at Xiaoqi's place, along with Kurobe Kato and Takisaki Kurumi. Takisaki Kurumi's arrival in the One Piece world was thanks to Linglong, who had pledged her own life as a guarantee, convincing Nami to let her come. After Xiaoqi briefly introduced Takisaki Kurumi and Kurobe Kato to Wei, she looked at Linglong and said, "Sister Linglong, you didn't arouse suspicion over there when you left, did you?" Linglong smiled and said, "Don't worry, I found a good excuse. The enemy won't have any suspicion." When the other people heard the word enemy from Linglong's mouth, their mouths twitched. They got into the role even faster than Xiaoqi. Xiaoqi nodded and looked at Kurobe Kato and said, "Are all the things ready?" Kurobe Kato patted the backpack on his body and smiled. "Everything is in it." After distributing the manuscript in his hand to everyone, Xiaoqi said, "There's no time to lose. Let's rehearse first and memorize the lines we need to memorize. I saw several cutters from Baroque Works here today. I guess their action will be in the next 2 days." Just as everyone else was preparing, Takisaki Kurumi looked at Xiaoqi and smiled. "Oh, everyone else has something to do. What about me? Your task is heavy. You have to protect Kato and Vivi's safety. If you see anyone who wants to hurt them, you can do whatever you want. I have already said hello to Vivi." After Xiaoqi finished speaking, she looked at Takisaki Kurumi in front of her. It must be said that her popularity is inseparable from her cute and sweet image. Takisuki Kirumi smiled and took out an exquisite gift box. This is a gift I prepared for you. It contains my special model figurines. The feel will definitely be better than the ones you drew before. Xiaoqi's heart was moved. The Takisuki Kirumi figurines he had drawn before were confiscated by Zhu Zhuqing. He had no other intentions for this thing, he simply wanted to keep it for appreciation. Xiaoqi looked around to see if no one noticed them and quickly put the gift box into the stored ring. Then he asked pretentiously, San-san, how is the situation over there now? Takisuki Kirumi said, the general situation is the same as described in Date Alive, but there is one most important person who is different. There is no one named Itsuka Shideo there, only a girl named Itsuka Shirei. What the hell? Xiaoqi exclaimed when he heard this. What the hell is Itsuka Shirei? But just a moment later, Xiaoqi understood. This Takisuki Kirumi's world must be a parallel universe. So, the Takisuki Kirumi before him. With intense curiosity, Xiaoqi looked at her seriously and said, San-san, I have a very important question for you. Are you a lesbian? It's no wonder he thought so. The way they sealed spirits there was so unique. If it were as in the original story, those two girls kissing each other would be lesbians, wouldn't that be true? Hearing this question, Takisuki Kirumi was stunned for a moment. Then, she leaned close to Xiaoqi and said with a smile, am I a lesbian? Do you want to confirm it for yourself? Just then, Linglong's voice came from behind them. Xiaoqi, can you please not read this line? It's so embarrassing. I'll go over and take a look. You can have fun by yourself for a while. With that, Xiaoqi fled in panic. Although he knew that the other party was most likely teasing him, he still couldn't stand it. Takisuki Kirumi looked at Xiaoqi's back and smiled. What an interesting man. Why don't we join others in tricking him next time? Xiaoqi came to Linglong's side and looked at the lines the other party said, and said righteously, Linglong, this line is the soul of the whole play and must be kept. If you feel ashamed, you can wear a mask, but then you will lose a lot of fun. Linglong looked at Xiaoqi and blinked. And said, really? You won't trick me in as well, right? Xiaoqi said unhappily, why should I trick you? Didn't you see that there is also a part about me on it? Really? Linglong nodded after looking at the lines Xiaoqi said, but she still warned him with concerns. If you dare to trick me, I will not only expose you, but I will never be in the same group with you again. Don't worry, I'm only tricking Nami this time. Just as Xiaoqi was convincing Linglong, Chopper called out, Xiaoqi, why do I have so few lines? I need more. As the head director, Xiaoqi was incredibly busy that day. Not only did he have to explain his lines to everyone, but he also had to account for any unexpected situations that might arise on set. But for him, all the hard work was worth it. He wanted to give Nami an unforgettable memory. Chapter 75 The show begins. The next day, the streets of Narahura were bustling with people. King Cobra of Alabasta had appeared. Xiaoqi, standing by the window, glanced down at Cobra, a smile playing on her lips. It was the exact scene from the original novel, where Mr. Von Clay used the mimic fruit to transform into Cobra and sparked a rebellion. You idiot, I'll let you have some fun for a while. Xiaoqi turned to Vivi and asked, have you told your father? Vivi nodded. It's all settled. Our soldiers have already disguised themselves as ordinary civilians and are blending in with the crowd. In a few minutes, all the video Den Mushi will be broadcasting this footage simultaneously across all the cities. Vivi paused, her face suddenly flushing slightly. My father told me to tell you. He has something to say to you privately after this matter is resolved. She knew exactly what her father wanted to say to Xiaoqi, and she had already decided to share her feelings with him once the matter was resolved. While waiting for Linglong and the others to arrive, Xiaoqi had secretly taken her back to the palace to meet her father. Even the video Den Mushi that were now being released in every city were set by Xiaoqi alone. While there was a motive behind this to trick Nami, Wei knew that if Xiaoqi had simply wanted to trick Nami, he wouldn't have gone to such lengths. He was primarily motivated by his desire to help her. From saving her from the Blackbeard pirates to now saving her country, Wei had already fallen deeply in love with him, and she wouldn't shy away from him any longer. Xiaoqi nodded. Okay, show your skills later. You have the most lines. Wei smiled and said, yes, I promise to complete the task. Xiaoqi looked at Takisuki Kirumi and said, Sansan, you must pay attention to your surroundings at all times. Wei and Kato's safety is in your hands. Takisaki Kurumi laughed and said, "Oh, I wonder what humans from other worlds taste like." Suzuki found Lu Linglong, who was still reciting her lines, very amused. As for Chopper, our little adorable pet was getting nervous, mumbling, "Nami, don't hit me." Just then, Zhu Zhuqing and Kuroba Kato emerged from the room. Suzuki looked at Cobra and Nami and nodded with satisfaction. Cobra got full marks, Nami got 90. Kuroba Kato's portrayal of Cobra goes without saying. Zhu Zhuqing's portrayal of Nami is flawless in every other respect, except for her figure, which he couldn't quite replicate. After all, Zhu Zhuqing's greatest strength was something he'd already experienced many times. Suzuki looked at the crowd and said, "It's almost time. Everyone, take your positions. Once Kosha appears, our performance officially begins. Come, let's repeat our slogan again, kill Nami, save Vivi." A few minutes later, the video Den Mushi that Suzuki had placed in all the cities of Alabasta lit up simultaneously, broadcasting a live feed from Narahura in every city, including the rainy land where Nami and her group were currently located. Luffy, looking at the sudden display, asked curiously, "Huh? What's this?" Aside from Luffy, the single-minded idiot, everyone else knew Suzuki had orchestrated this, speculating they were trying to expose the fake Cobra. With Kosha's appearance, Vivi and Kuroba Kato's King Cobra appeared before everyone. All the citizens of Alabasta watching the live broadcast were stunned. MR2, impersonating Cobra, was stunned. Even Crocodile and Robin, who had secretly watched from the sidelines after receiving intelligence from their subordinates, were stunned. Crocodile, regaining his composure, frowned and said, "Miss Sunday, I need an explanation." Robin shook her head, saying, "I don't know anything about this either. We lost track of Princess Vivi's movements back on Drum Island, a bunch of losers." Crocodile cursed, his gaze fixed on the screen in front of him. The commotion caused by the real and fake Cobra quickly subsided. With Vivi, the legitimate princess, a brief standoff was all it took for MR2 to reveal his flaws. Ultimately, Crocodile and his Baroque Works conspiracy was exposed. Seeing the situation was dire, the Baroque Works personnel attempted to secretly attack Vivi and the real Cobra, but as soon as they raised their weapons, they were dispatched by Takisaki Kurumi's clones. Suzuki nodded at Wee, who was giving a passionate speech. The little princess was doing well, showing no signs of stage fright. In contrast, Lu Linglong, still memorizing her lines beside her, was a true testament to the innocence of comparison. The Baroque Workshop executives have appeared. "It's our turn," Suzuki said, grabbing Lu Linglong and leaping from a high place. Their sudden appearance caused another commotion at the scene. As planned, Suzuki first unleashed a Kigen wave, knocking Fenkeli unconscious. Then, she shouted, "Everyone, freeze. Or you'll end up like this idiot." To further intimidate the crowd, Suzuki unleashed another Kigen wave, destroying a nearby building. When the scene quieted down, Wee looked at Suzuki and Lu Linglong and shouted, "Who are you?" Suzuki and Lu Linglong exchanged glances and nodded. The most exciting moment had arrived. Lu Linglong, "Since you're asking so sincerely, Suzuki, will mercifully tell you." Lu Linglong, "To prevent the world from being destroyed." Suzuki, "To protect world peace." Lu Linglong, "To implement love and true evil." Suzuki, "A lovable and charming villain." Lu Linglong, Suzuki, "Together, we're the Urazuaya pirates, traveling the Grand Line. Killing, looting, all kinds of bad things await us." Chopper jumped between the two at the perfect moment. "That's it, Chopper." Despite having seen these two rehearse many times, Vivi, Kuroba Kato, Takisaki Kurumi, and the yet-to-be-shown Zhu Zhuqing couldn't help but twitch their eyes. Over in the rainy land, Nami and the other normal people were dumbfounded, stunned. Luffy and Usopp's eyes lit up and they said excitedly, "It's so handsome, I want to play too." Nami opened her mouth and said after a long time, "What are they doing?" Sanji looked at her with an expression that said, "I understand," and shouted, "Do I need to ask? It must be that bastard Suzuki who wants to show off. Damn it, how can he think of anything?" Sakata Gintoki shook his head and said, No, Jin-san thinks there's a big problem here." "What does this have to do with the Urazuaya pirates?" Kaya smiled and said, "I think it's quite interesting. I wonder what kind of surprises they will bring us later." On Suzuki's side, Lu Linglong murmured anxiously, "My dear Princess Vivi, please finish your words quickly. If you don't, I'm about to forget the rest of the words. Vivi was stunned for a moment before she remembered that it was her turn next. She looked at the two people in front of her and said, "What is your purpose in coming here, you two evil people from the Urazuaya pirates?" Oh, Lu Linglong laughed, grabbing Cobra's throat and saying, "We're here to capture you, the princess, on Captain Nami's orders, Xiaoqi, Wei Wei, and Kuroba Kato. Big sis, you've got the wrong guy." Lu Linglong, still unaware of her mistake, winked at Xiaoqi desperately. "Why are you just standing there? Hurry and capture them." Xiaoqi had no choice but to hold Wei Wei in her arms. The original plan was for him to strangle Kuroba Kato, while Lu Linglong held her. As a result, Wei Wei, who should have been the one to continue the performance, forgot all about it in Xiaoqi's arms. Far from resisting, she even adjusted herself to make herself more comfortable. Lu Linglong then realized she had the wrong guy and whispered to Xiaoqi, "How about we release them first and try again?" "Oh." Xiaoqi sighed silently as she looked at the adorable Lu Linglong and the delighted Wei Wei. This year's actresses are not easy to lead. Even if he and Kato, two movie stars, join forces, they can't lead them. Thanks to the Bug Friend Super Invincible Great Tyrannosaurus Warrior for the monthly ticket. Thanks to the Bug Friend 20221116120732731 for the monthly ticket. End of this chapter. Thank you so much for reading until the end. Don't forget to give it a like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription or donation encourages us to continue. Thank you all. See you in the next video.